Welcome everybody to the CrossFire podcast. We're sorry we're late, but listen, it's a new year. But to be honest with you, we want to keep tradition and stay as late as possible.
I was going to say, are we really sorry, Mooch? Because
we're not sorry at all.
Okay?
This is exactly how we roll. The only thing we did differently this year. Wait a minute, I hear two Mooches. Even though I'm a big fan of Mooch.
The world can't.
That was me.
I do want to.
Rookie mistake.
I am still looking into cloning myself.
It is a rookie mistake. Jeez.
Oh, that's not me.
No.
That was me.
Predator. Yeah.
Oh, Brad. No, listen, guys, let's get into it. Look, we were having such a heart-to-heart conversation just now in the pregame show that I said, guys, if you don't mind, rewrite all this down. Let's do it on air where it counts. But let me start with my intros because they only take a half an hour. The one, the only, Senior Crap Gamer. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Obviously, Crap Gamer here. Happy to be back. It feels like it's been forever.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because actually, you had missed a couple of podcast within the last month of the year, so it does feel like, man, it's been a long ass time, but it's good to be back. And the good news is it's always good to be back when there's like breaking stuff and rumors and different things like that. So
absolutely. And Crap, I wrote a lot of things down.
Sorry.
Oh no, what's going on here, folks? We gotta have
not like me.
Podcasting tutorial will be
that was crap that time.
Exactly.
That wasn't me.
Eastern time, folks. Yes.
That was crap.
No, but Crap, I want you to go ahead and just literally spit out any kind of new news that you heard, even if I didn't throw it into the topics, because there is so much coming out. So rumors, late breaking, this, that. Actually, I even think IGN's PubG review went up, which that's hysterical. But we'll talk about that. That kind of broke in the past few hours as well.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of stuff to talk about. So it should be a fun show for sure. Always happy to be here and do the Crossfire thing. So
yes,
good to be back.
Appreciate having you, buddy. And next, the man who doesn't care if you care if he vapes. Xbot 448. Welcome back, buddy. How are you?
What's going on?
What's going on, people? It's the Xbot 448. And guess what, guys? I actually witnessed Crap Gamer greatness in PubG. I have been telling everybody on my friends list that comes into parties with me. I was in a game with him and his crew, and I saw him single-handedly take down two guys with a handgun. Now, the other guys, one had a rifle and the other one had a shotgun, and Crap was not having it. I just stood there in awe, like, oh my goodness.
Well, the funny thing is Mooch actually won a chicken dinner with me and my crew. We were last game of the night, man.
We came second, man.
Yeah. Dude.
I contributed. So
yeah. Well, the funny thing was me and Mooch were playing with my crew. We played a few rounds. We should have won one. It was us. Yeah. Our whole team was still alive, and there was only one person on the other team. Next thing you know, it shrunk down so much, like people panicked. The blue got to us. Boom. Everybody died except for the one dude on the other team.
Except for the one guy who was on the other property who was not in the blue. And the blue.
Why did we all just go get him? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. But
we're still questioning ourselves. That's how much this game has an impact on your life. We're still questioning that one move.
In the night on
a chicken dinner.
Yeah, on a chicken dinner.
We went to bed full, folks.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So don't you worry about it.
I gotta say, this game is huge right now. Like I didn't know about longevity, and I still don't know about it. But right now in the Xbox community, if you're not grouping up with friends, if you're not meeting new people and playing this game, squatting up and stuff like that, you are missing the boat right now, everybody.
Well, listen, we got a lot more people to get to, Xbot. I want to tell you this much, though. Longevity-wise, I'll just give you a hint. You can fester on this for a second. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was supposed to be Game of the Year, biggest thing since sliced bread. What game is that? Nobody even talks about it, but PubG is still roaring. So, listen, we'll get back to that in a second. That's exactly it. Correct. Another usual suspect that's with us tonight, Signore Bombastic. Boom. Welcome back. Happy New Year to you, too, buddy.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for coming out tonight. But here's my question more than anything. Can we, because there's so much information and because the fans really want to hear it, can we sneak an extra 15 minutes into Crossfire?
Wow. Can we sneak an extra 15 minutes into it? I don't think so, because you don't understand. I get bombarded with crap DM tweets.
Well, you know what? I knew the answer, but I just wanted to say it.
Well, I appreciate that. You take it up with crap. We'll see what he says. Next, we're gonna get to some of our special guests here. He's a guest, but he's becoming a regular guest. Pred, welcome back to the show, buddy. Happy New Year to you too. How you been?
Oh, good, man. Happy New Year to everybody on the panel, everybody out there listening tonight. Yeah, it feels like it's been forever since I've done a podcast, man. That long ass break that we had. Over the holidays.
It was a good break, right, Pred? But you know what? It did kind of feel like, I think it kind of like overlapped into a week and a half. For some folks, depending on when their podcast landed, like myself, almost 2 full weeks off. So
Yep.
it is a bit much. But you know what? It's much needed because let's be honest, we only have 51 weeks left until we get another break. So let's not complain too much. That goes for me too.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, man. I got a lot of time in with some games I hadn't finished and got some of my backlog taken.
Yeah, we hung out quite a bit over the break, buddy. It was very cool, very cool. And our special guest from G4G Media. Let me start with ladies first, of course. Moxie, welcome back to the show. It's so good to have you back, and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, you too. Really excited to be here. I'm glad we finally got us both on. So I'm looking forward to these topics.
Absolutely. And, I'm glad you brought that up. Avers, bringing you back onto the show. You were on a few times after Moxie was on. And I'll tell you right now, this was a great dynamic to have you both on at the same time. So I really hope that you guys both bring a little bit more to the table on the G4G. People need to know that you guys really, really do break in and drill into some of the gaming media stuff. A lot of the articles that are written that people kind of just wave over, but you guys really do. I watched what you did the other day, and it was interesting. And I think that these are subjects that the media needs to pick up and run with. And for some reason, we're doing it. So Avers, welcome back to the show, and Happy New Year to you too, brother.
Happy New Year to you and everyone on the panel, everyone listening. Thank you so much for saying that. That actually means quite a bit to both Moxie and I. We've talked quite a bit off air about how much you've given us praise, and Boom and everybody that's helped us. And you guys are a big part of the reason why we're still doing this and still chugging along here on YouTube, being a smaller channel. So thanks, and it's going to be a fun night.
No, it definitely is. And, with that being said, I do want to jump right into it, guys. One of the things I put on here, and I think it's the one that's just kind of the most exciting. Like, I for one, I get very excited about software, right? We talk about Sea of Thieves coming. If you're a Sony guy, you like your PS4, you like your God of War. But, the one thing that gets me really kind of pumped about the gaming business is I like hardware. But I will say this much. As I'm a proponent of having hardware come out every 3 to 4 years and giving us the latest and greatest, and what comes out in AMD or Intel or NVIDIA or whatever you're dealing with, if you're PC or console, the problem is in this case, there's rumors talking about possibly 2019 being the next Xbox. Yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of going to go ahead and agree with crap on this. That's a little too soon, okay? I mean, we all just wrote the check and sent it into our Visa MasterCard respectively for our X's. The ink is still wet. So I don't know if necessarily this is the time. So I'm going to open it up to the panel. With these rumors coming out, I mean, are you guys feeling the new hardware this soon? And secondly, or do we just think it's just a rumor and it's all full of shit and we're not going to have anything until 2020? It
was a stupid rumor to begin with. It was it was like a YouTuber or something who like had a Microsoft source.
Supposedly his source though crap was hit 100% out of 100% on every single thing he'd given him prior. That's why it had legs.
I would go back and check that track record because he talked about Battletoads as well, and I'm enjoying Battletoads in my mind.
Wait, no, that's not the source. That's not the same source for the new Xbox, though, right? I mean, that's as far as I know, that's something else.
No, I believe he was saying about the new Xbox.
No, because that guy was the one that said the new Fable and stuff like that.
He said that too.
Era. Because I didn't see anything about the new Xbox. Supposedly, there was one YouTuber was like Microsoft scared of the next PlayStation.
Wasn't that Dreamcast guy?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Dreamcast guy. Yeah. Yes, he's the one that broke that supposed rumor. Look, here's the thing, Mooch, Crap and Mooch. You guys talked about it on Xbox Nation just the other day. It doesn't make any financial sense whatsoever that Microsoft is going to launch another $500 box while they still have a $400 box out there. It's asinine. It doesn't make any sense.
No, you know what? Here's the real deal on why this doesn't make sense. You saw what happened with the Xbox One way back when in that year that I'm never going to talk about again. And that was a rushing thing, right? With Mr. double $ Donnie Matrick over there. They're not going to do that again. They're not going to rush anything again. Right now, with what you have with the X, it can stand in there for any point in time, like until they come out with a new system.
And it would only probably be a year after the PlayStation 5. But the current hardware, listen, it will be able to hang with the PlayStation 5? Because remember, there's these companies have to learn how to work with these systems.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing, though. As far as I'm concerned, Microsoft has to release at the same time as the PlayStation 5. You can't let Sony get that 1 year head start on you, because people, while they aren't as eager to jump in a mid-gen refresh, right? Like, that's not pressing the reset button. When you hit reset on the generations and have that true generational leap, that's when people abandon what they have now and jump on board for the next generation, right? Regardless of what the power difference is. It could be a teraflop more than the Xbox One X, but if they say it's next generation, people are going to jump on it, and Microsoft can't afford to be a year behind on that.
Well, allow me also to sound like all the console war fanboy talk that's going on all over Twitter. Is the next generation is definitely going to be about a hardware bump. We all know that, but I really think that both systems will be comparable. Neither of them is going to undermine the other one in this case. This one time, I think they're really going to come out equal. So it's going to come out with who's going to lock down the better third-party game, who's going to have their better single first-party IPs ready to rock and roll. I really think it comes down to software. And here's the thing. 2019 seems a little too early for either company to blow out these crazy next-gen. Because, listen, people are like, well, what are you talking about, Mooch? There's Spider-Man and this and that and blah, blah, blah for Sony. But that's all supposedly coming out for PS4. So the only thing I can see coming out for PS5 is Death Stranding.
Well, Mooch, when you're talking about software, you make a point, because at the heart of it all, it's about the games. I see what you're saying there. Now, in terms of these systems being comparable, that's where we're going to disagree. Because if they take the same things that they did with the Xbox One X, and then they upgrade the CPU, GPU, you know what AMD is doing. Instead of using these Jaguar cores, you use Ryzen.
Jaguar's out.
Yeah, you use the Ryzen. That is a huge bump right there. Instead of, AMD has different GPU like configurations and technology coming on down the line. There's something called Navi. If they have Navi already hooked up and they're working on that in terms of the next Xbox, with having DirectX 12 physically in the system, you're looking at a huge bump right there. And I think that's what they did here. That's why they used the Jaguar with the X and everything like that. I think they established that power crown from there into the future. So I don't think it's just going to be a comparable little bump here and there. When we see the next Xbox, it's going to be a leap.
What do you guys think over there at G4G? What do you think, Avers, Moxie? What do you guys talk about when you guys are sitting there kind of doing your notes and you see that these rumors pop? Do you kind of pay any attention to them, or for you guys, it's literally what it is? It's a rumor and it's nothing really to be discussed.
Well, we usually don't really pay that much attention to rumors, because
I don't blame you.
So often that ends in heartbreak. We end up getting excited every E3. We hear about all these amazing rumors, and more than half of them never even come true. So we don't see a lot of truth there. But if you look at Microsoft's pattern over these last 15 years or so, they're always working on the next system. They've been doing that since the OG Xbox. It's about a 3 to 4 year process that they develop that system. We've heard in interviews with, I believe, Phil Spencer, that they're already working on the successor to the X, and they were working on it before the X was even 100% finalized. So I'd say
the S went out. They were talking about it.
That Phil was mentioning it back then. So that means they had already been working on it for at least a year, possibly even more at that point. I'd say 3 to 4 years actually is very possible. 2019, no way. We just got the X.
Definitely not 2019.
Yeah,
but we know they're working on it. That's been all but confirmed that they are working on the next one. But that's the way that the cycles work. R&D is always started right before they release the next one for the one that's after that. But Microsoft is really focused on profit. They're really focused on the things that drive their profit, and consoles are not that thing. So,
Moxie, get a little bit more into that, because you were the one on your last show that kind of got into that. I wish people, maybe if they hear it from you, it'll start to ring a tone. It's not about the console itself is a brick. It's like bringing home a loaf of bread. Okay. The bread was $1.29 in the grocery store. It's about the cold cuts that go inside that are the real money. Okay.
Yeah. Consoles aren't profit. Consoles don't represent profit. They're pretty much break even. Sometimes they're even losses, and it's all the things that go with the console that make up the profits. In Microsoft, one of the things you had on the topic list is, are they trying to beat the PS5? Is that what the timeline would be? And I don't think Microsoft is concerning themselves with what PlayStation is doing whatsoever. Exactly. I don't think they ever come out with anything because PlayStation did or did not do something. I think that, they're just in their normal cycle. They're focused on their own thing, and their own thing is profit rather than trying to one up the other companies or anything like that. So that would make 2019 seem kind of ridiculous.
Also, people have to keep in mind that when they say working on things, it doesn't mean they got parts and they're going clank, clank, clank. It just means that they're just sketching out ideas and things like that.
Yeah, there's tons of R&D, no doubt.
Yeah, like the Xbox One X started in pre-production right when the Xbox One launched. So, I mean, that was greenlit by Donnie D as well. Like, maybe not the form that we ended up with, but he knew they done goofed. And you know what I mean? So you've got to figure that they are planning that. But if that took 4 years for a mid-gen refresh to come to fruition, and Sony kind of rushed. Apparently they were planning their Pro early on too, right after the release of the PS4. So, and that was kind of half-assed rushed. So you got to imagine, do you really want these companies to rush these consoles? No, of course not. You know, wait for a true next generation leap. Get us something 2021, whatever, and like just enjoy the games and stuff. Don't get into this whole, Cold War console. I got this one that's 8 teraflops, 8.4 bitches. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that. That's
look at it this way, like, in the past, about 18 months, we've had a PS Pro, we've had PSVR, 2 versions of PSVR, we've had the S, the X, then it's
a PS Slim.
That's a lot of fucking hardware. Yeah, in such a short amount of time, and you don't want to oversaturate the market and have 4 or 5 different SKUs sitting out there, in the next couple of years. And like, this, deal with the X for now, make games for it, and then holler at me in 2020, 2021.
Well, we're going to find out here, because the one thing I agree with everybody with I agree pretty much with everything everyone has said. My only thing is this: it depends on how much Sony is going to be affected by the third-party game sales, right? I mean, if we start to see, because listen, even when you're talking about except for Call of Duty that sells 25 million copies, a lot of times with these multi-plats, they're selling 2, 3, 4, 5 million. So even though Sony has the jump on 70 to whatever 40, I'll use the numbers that they're using on G4G. You guys did a little mathematical scheme there and came up with around 40, 45 million Xboxes sold. It only takes 2 to 3 million to buy the multi-plat and be a success. So if people are buying the X and buying the better looking game, is Sony truly, mind screwed, if you will, in the fact that they're no longer the console champ in power? So with that being said, I think 2021 crap, that I think is just a bit outside of the goal. That's a little far to the right. I think 2020 is the sweet spot.
It depends. They're going to probably try to get the same time as the PS4. If I'm Sony, I'm not in a big hurry. Why hurry?
One thing that people fail to keep realizing is that in 2020 marks the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation in this country.
Another birthday.
Yeah, it's another birthday, but it's significant. And if they were going to look, here's the thing. They know at this point they're going to be losing in graphics to the X. I mean, it's look, the numbers are there, okay? I mean, it is what it is, right? So they know that they're just going to take it on the chin now. I think it would be highly unlikely that they rush out the system in 2019 simply just to say that their graphics are now comparable with the X. I can definitely see I do not see it going past 2020, and I see them using the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation in this country as a jumping off point for their PlayStation 5. I think it makes great business sense.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that, and Moxie, you said I don't think Microsoft cares. And I agree with you. I don't think they care per se what Sony does mid-generation through generation. The only thing I will say is this much, and this is a lot of this is going to be a tell in the next couple of years. We're going to find out if Sony cares if they lost the Power Crown, depending on the year that they come out. If they come out 2021, what Crap just said is 100% accurate. They come out before 2021, that they missed and they want that crown back. Number 2, you'll find out with Microsoft. Do they care to compete with Sony? Because if they do, they need to launch day and date with the PS5, whatever they call it, the Xbox 2. Granted, we all know software is where the cash is, right? Or if not just the games and software, but things like the Havoc engine, et cetera, that Microsoft owns, that is with embedded in each piece of software. They know how to make their money. Microsoft making money, something that IGN, Kotaku, these other people, they're not covering that. They're not telling you that Microsoft's making money behind the scenes. Okay, everybody looks at the Great Wizard of Oz as the big face in the smoke and the green and the cackling, but they don't realize that Microsoft's making money as this little old dude behind the curtain. Okay. Okay, they're making a lot of money behind the scenes. Okay, it's not about just the big face. So the point of the matter is that I'm very, very intrigued to see what the moves are in the next couple of years. That's why when I see rumors of 2019 come out, I sit there and I say to myself, is Microsoft truly ambitious enough to go ahead and do what they did with the 360 and try and beat Sony to it? I personally say no, I don't think so, because you can't have a $500 product on the shelf right now in the X and then tell me in 2 years you're going to have another $500 item on the shelf. And
Microsoft
$425 on sale. Go ahead, Moxie.
Microsoft runs their own show. They are 100% focused on profit. And you can take that as the reason they're 100% focused on profit is that's how we get what we want. But Sony's got bigger problems. Sony's got problems with their game sales and, you know, their pre-orders. And Microsoft is just doing all of the services, the software, the digital downloads. They're pushing all the things that max out their profit. And they'll put out the next console when their fan base needs and wants the next console. But no company is just going to release a console and then go, all right, we'll just sit here for a while. And then later we'll decide to start the research for the next one. They're always going to have that started. But everything they're doing right now is profit, profit, profit. And that ultimately benefits their client base. And they'll release a new console when, again, it ultimately benefits their client base.
And Microsoft are blazing trails in technology right now. I've said it for a couple of years now. They're the most exciting company in tech. So they're always looking at the next thing. Some of the patents that they have coming down the line. I don't know if anybody's had the chance to take a look at HoloLens or some of those patents they have for the holodeck, but that stuff is incredible what they're working on right now. They're way ahead of the curve. Sony is known for actually sort of dumpster diving behind the offices and picking up their old playbook. That's what they're using right now is Microsoft's old playbook across the board. You guys have been saying it for a couple of years now. And unfortunately, it takes a while for the gaming sites and for all the fans of gaming to adapt to what Microsoft does. So Sony ends up coming in right at the right time using old moves and picking up a lot of the support for that stuff.
Well, here's my question to you, Avers. How is it, okay, when 2019, 2020, or 2021 comes about? Here's the thing. When you already have 70 million, 80 million, 90 million people already on the PS4, just curious, because I understand that we're sitting here saying that they're going to make money regardless, Microsoft. But at the end of the day, people do like to win a race. It's why you run it, okay? So my point being is what is going to lure people from the PlayStation side to the Xbox side when next generation starts? Because in my opinion, and you can tell me if you don't think I'm right, they will start day and date together. So when that happens, what is it Microsoft's going to have? Is it just going to be a Halo game, or is it going to be a third-party lockdown deal? Not this, you know, not like console exclusive for a week and a half, like real deal. I mean, what's going to pull them over?
But they have to have everything. They have to have exclusives right out of the gate. They have to have the more powerful system, the better resolution, the better frame rates right out of the gate. They've got to have a few deals, a few marketing deals, and they've got to lock all that up and have it ready to go at launch. And they have to do a reveal that just absolutely blows the doors off of everything we've ever seen.
And that's the thing. They have to present it right.
Yes,
that's the problem. They don't present their shit right at the right time. That was what screwed them over in the year that we won't mention. Like, the presentation has always been fucked up for them. Even this whole generation has been. So what Avery just said is absolutely correct. And I think the biggest key part of that, even if they have all that shit, if they don't present it right, no one's going to hop over.
Yo, guys, when it comes to talking about the next Xbox, I think one thing we got to go back and look at is what Phil Spencer has said about what's going on with the Xbox division. He said that he wanted Xbox Live on multiple platforms, you know, iOS, stuff like that. He did that, right? He wanted to deal with the power issue. So, you know, they came out with the X. He said that is done. See, right there, that is done. He's not even talking about the next gen. He said the next step is developing the first-party studios, getting, you know, more of the games out. That's what they're on right now. And I think with what they did with the X, the infrastructure that's there, like I said, all you have to do is upgrade the CPU and the GPU, right? Those games that are coming out now, even back then, but more or less now, and then moving forward into whenever they decide to do the next generation, all those games are going to get just like that massive boost with the next Xbox, because that's what they've shown they can do with the X. And they're going to move that forward as well. So I don't think they're really thinking they need that next generation right now. I think what they're doing is they're filling out their games library. They're coming out with new IPs. You hear about, you know, we're going to talk down the line about Fable and stuff like that. They're filling that all out. You know what I'm saying? And then when that next generation system comes, it is going to be, it's going to blow the door wide open, because the games that people have already bought with their X are even going to take that jump to next year.
Here's the problem, though, right? If they wait a year, they're going to be in the same position they are now, 10, 15 million units behind right out of the gate to the PlayStation 5. Yes. That mentality, that PlayStation, that PlayStation, the way people just are. They're going to get what their friends get. The first one to 10 million is the winner.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how it always works. And they cannot afford to do it no matter what they do. If they're okay with not being the winner, then sure, they can release it a year later.
And that's what I'm saying. That'll be the tell, right?
If their hit song is Born to Runner Up, then that's going to be then fine. Go ahead and do that. If they're okay with mediocrity, that's okay. But
what I want to harp on a little bit was Moxie said that they will be ready when the consumer is ready. Now, here's the thing. That's a very logical statement. But here's where you're wrong, Moxie. You know what's going to happen? They're going to go ahead and do it when the media tells them when. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. Before the X even got out, before any of these consoles even were released to the people that got the 5,000 free consoles across, the YouTubers, the this, the that's, and everybody got them. We had Digital Foundry with snapshots telling everybody how much better the pictures were on the X versus the Pro. Here's what's going to happen. If Sony launches 1 day earlier, like Crap's saying, here's the problem. Here's the problem. The 60 frames locked, buttery smooth, all this and that. The media is going to dictate to the consumer that next generation is here and PlayStation is the place to play. And that's the problem, because what you said, Moxie, is actually correct. We should be in control of it, or Microsoft should be, or Sony should be in control of it. But it seems like the media is steering the ship these days. And that's what kind of frustrates me about places like Digital Foundry. It's not that Digital Foundry's analysis is wrong. It's not. But it's how they steer the ship and kind of move people. And now they've even said it. I know a lot of people like to say, well, Mooch, aren't they really saying great things about the X? They are, but it's a backhanded compliment.
Yep,
because the minute they get done with a compliment, they're like, but if you can deal with it, 1400p really isn't that bad, folks. But the 900p or the 6 blades of grass that was missing in GTA 5 was a game changer.
Yes.
You know what, though? I don't think Microsoft cares who has more consoles out there. I don't think that they consider that to be losing. Like the media says, oh, if you have less consoles and less homes, you're losing. Microsoft doesn't look at it that way. They look at who's profiting more or essentially meeting the goals that the division has set. And I think they also don't, obviously they care what the media is saying, but they also don't cater to that. They don't cater to any of those fake things that say you should do this or that,
they look at active users. They look at active users for Xbox Live as
active users, definitely.
Customers. That is where, because that's where the money is. There, it's software and services. All right. So if their numbers are huge on that front, which they are, they have no problem. They're like, yeah, guys, you do what you want over there. You clamber, do it, whatever. We're still doing what we do over here. And that's what they've been about. They've been about the software, the services. I mean, we can look at 2017 and say, they didn't have a lot of exclusives. But if you look at the entire generation, man, they have given us nothing but quality games that when it comes to the console side of things have been Xbox console exclusive. And I have no problem with this generation and the amount of exclusive games we have got for the Xbox.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But let's take this to the next level here. Let's talk about the other rumor mill that kind of opened up, which is funny because everybody was doing videos on it, and I saw this and the talk and the Twitter, and Microsoft's E3's possibly leaked and this and that.
I don't know if that's their E3 leaking. I think
I don't either.
Just some games.
But crap, those games we've been talking about for 2 years. I mean, we've been saying
some of them. I mean, we've heard rumors kind of floating around and stuff like that. And then I think it leads a little bit more credence when you got Aaron Greenberg having some of those games in his Twitter banner.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did he take that down?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did it out because people are fast. You know what I mean? Like you think one thing, and if that was an Easter egg or something, and then it could have possibly been, because it had that fable with the dragon.
Yeah.
And, we had been heard different things about Fable, and we've heard different things about.
Aren't you guys getting a little tired of the Easter egg hunt? That you remember when we were kids? Like, your parents were like, "We're taking you to an Easter egg hunt," and you go there and you ended up with a really old Kit Kat. Listen, here's the thing.
2018, bro. It's called viral marketing.
I've had it. We've had Phil come out now with T-shirt after T-shirt on, and I'm going to use Xbot from the pregame we were talking before with the Battletoads. Okay, comes out with Battletoads for 6 months. People are,
and we did get Battletoad stuff.
We got Battletoads from 65 years ago.
No, we got Battletoad. We got a Battletoad in Killer Instinct, and they also put out the Battletoads games on Rare Replay and stuff like that.
That's not what we want, though.
Yeah, that's
like putting Conquer in Project Spark.
We don't know. We don't exactly know, but I mean that is something, right? And here's the thing: when the original Xbox One came out, before even Phil took over, there was Crackdown orbs on that original reveal of the Xbox One, and people called it. It gets people talking. People are right now. More people are talking about the Xbox One than they did in the last 3 months of last year.
Crap, the Xbox One has been flat out more talked about than even the PS4, but unfortunately, it's all negative. This is the only industry where
here's the thing.
Bad press is bad press in the gaming game.
Up until 3 days ago, all the news was about how they lacked any games. Now it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of games. You know what I mean? That's how it changes. And I think some of that stuff could even be on purpose, but still, games are games, and that's not even talking about the stuff that we don't know about. So I think that there's actually a ton of stuff,
right?
To really be excited about. I love it. I love it. And more.
I don't
digging
love
all that kind of stuff. How can you not?
I don't like the Easter egg shit. I like, you know what? Just tell me what the hell the game is. Why do I have to sit here and do a math? Do you remember when we tried to figure out when the Scorpio was coming out? There was that picture and it was faded, and somebody was doing a logarithm to figure it out. Like, come on, man! Just tell us when it's happening. I don't want to sit here and do a puzzle.
But see, that's you, man. The hype around that.
They tell you, then it's okay. Like, look, we got.
I think there's more me than you guys.
We got to see if these release date.
Right.
Dead. Right, people are going to be talking about this shit for a while, leading all the way up to E3. Oh shit! Remember that leak that from that Reset era dude who was right about all that other stuff? Holy shit! Are we going to really get all that? Well, I wonder what else is coming. Oh,
well, wait! Now you're changing the subject. Rumors that leak, okay, and then make a YouTube video and this and that. I'm down with that. But what I'm not down with is like the Aaron Greenberg for 45 minutes has an Easter egg up on the back of his Twitter when you fold it and look at it upside down.
Well,
what?
Also, all those guys switched to original Xbox logos for a long time, and nobody put 2 and 2 together that we were getting original Xbox backward compatibility because they flat out said no, it wasn't going to happen. We kept hearing how no, that was never going to happen. It wasn't worth it for them, right? And then they did it. Yeah. So I'm fine with it, man. Whatever gets people talking, whatever gets people excited, I think that's the best thing in the world.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing though, crap, is like a lot of this stuff happens, and like I said, if what you just said gets the hype going, gets the train started, and then it becomes, goes to fruition, I'm all for it. But when you have like I say, Phil Spencer comes out with the Battletoads, and the it's a Battletoad character in a different game. That's not what all of us. It ends up being a letdown. It ends up being a letdown. It's like when someone, you say, "Oh, we're gonna get pizza tonight, kids. Tonight's pizza night," and then at 5 o'clock you break out the Elios out of the freezer. That's not what they wanted. You know what I mean? Come on, let's give me what it is. If you're gonna wear it, you don't want Elios. You burn your in the synthetic.
Nah, man. Look, here's the thing. I would take this over nothing, and since their market has been next to nothing anyway. Yeah, I mean,
that's where I'm going, crap. That's where I'm going.
This gets people excited, leading all the way up until E3. This is really, really something fun, and not only that, but we're not even sure. Like, yeah, maybe Greeny was a deep tease, or maybe it was just somebody fan made that and he didn't catch it. Like who knows? Those are the things you got to kind of deal with. That's the exciting part, I think. Is it something? Is it not? Who knows? But to me,
it's kind of like the I Love Bees thing when it came to Halo 3.
Yeah,
that thing went nuts, dude.
Yeah,
and I think they're trying to recapture that in a certain essence and stuff like that. Those kind of marketing, where it gets the people to kind of look into things and work stuff out. I know Mooch might not like it, but there's a lot of people out there that all they do is sit in front of a screen with a keyboard all day, and they want to look into that stuff.
Yeah,
and for those
trolls.
No, I'm not talking about keyboard warriors, man. I'm talking about, you know, either people that like they might work all day in front of a computer and they might get their job done, you know, early in the morning and they have nothing left to do for the rest of the day. They like looking into that stuff, and it does create a certain amount of hype, you know, moving forward. And if they do it right, it's done right, man.
It's like I said, this business is like, and it's like no other business. I mean, there's no other product that's ever coming down the road, okay, that does something like this. Like the auto show, they're showing you the cars that are coming out 2 years from now, verbatim. This is the car. Here it is. Like, they're not giving you Easter egg hunts and like this and that. And the guy from General Motors comes out and he's just got an old-fashioned farm truck and on a T-shirt. And he's like, guess what we're coming out with next year? And it's like, you know, I mean, I'm at a point right now, and I think Microsoft's got to stop with the games. Pardon the pun. And like literally show us the games. Like, let's just like that's the thing about it.
But nothing wrong with having people talk about your stuff until then.
So we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about right now, something that doesn't exist for 4 months, and then everybody can be like, "You guys talked about nothing that exists for 4 months." So like it just gets really old, and
it gets old, dude. We've been hearing about Death Stranding for 2-3 years, Shenmue 3 for 4 years, Spider-Man.
Shenmue 3 is an old game, whatever.
God of War for 3
coming
years.
Out. God of War is coming out.
Yeah, but when?
Who cares? It's real. We don't know it's real here.
Yeah, but before it was real, it was rumors. We knew that Sucker Punch was working on some new IP. What could it be? You know what I mean? Like, it always starts off as
God of War 4 was a rumor as much as Forza Horizon 5 is a rumor. Well, it's coming out.
But nobody knew that it was going to be how it is the thing. You know what I mean? And I think,
right.
You don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you could be thinking this way when all we've been hearing nonstop. Do you want to hear for the next 4 months, Xbox got no games? Like, fuck. Even if it's just a red herring to keep people quiet, fucking have the red herring be there.
How about show the game?
They're not going to show the game.
What happened with that?
Because look, if they have a Perfect Dark that the Coalition's helping on, which by the way, Coalition is working on multiple projects, right? They said that last year. You have the shit. You're not going to announce it now. When are you going to announce it? At E3.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Announce it at E3. They could have announced something at last year's E3, just a teaser for Coalition.
Well, we
would have talked about it straight.
They just canceled Scalebound in the year.
Not last year. This past E3, they could have shown. That's what I'm trying to. You're missing my point. I'm not saying don't talk about it, but I'm saying they should have said these things at E3 last year, so that this way through the entire fall, instead of everybody being like, nothing's here, nothing's coming. They could have had something. They need to start their hype at
some of the stuff they didn't know. Like, look, we might not get all this stuff then. That's why they're supposedly trying to buy exclusives. They're stopgap exclusives until their stuff is ready.
Well, I actually got a question for the panel. I'm kind of wondering because we always talk about these shows, right? We talk about E3, we talk about Gamescom, Paris Game Week. We talk about all these big shows. Now, Sony's PSX this year was horrendous. Everyone knows it. It was lackluster to say the least. They did show one new game, which we all kind of knew was coming. No one knew what it was, but they knew that they were working on it fine. Because E3 is 6 months away, right? Would it be because you guys we're all talking about hype train, right? Like get the wheels moving. It's cold. It's 9 degrees here in New York. We got to get the wheels moving.
Jeez.
What if? Yeah, it's been 9 degrees for days. It's ridiculous. Yeah, what if Microsoft kind of just went out of the box, right? And we know that Sony has their PSX in December. What if Microsoft did a small show, nothing crazy, no fireworks, no people falling off buildings in March, just before E3, kind of throw a few things to get people talking instead of like, you see, we're talking now because we're YouTube guys, right? And we heard these rumors and we're getting excited because we're Xbox fans. But wouldn't it be amazing if Microsoft actually did it? Like literally.
You don't need that right now, man.
No, you kind of do, dude. Yeah, you kind of do.
Boom. We're in January right now. A couple months, Sea of Thieves is coming out. We don't know what else is coming out before E3 as well. We're like,
but you see, again, you just made my argument. We have no idea.
This is going to be a desert all the way up into E3. There's going to be stuff to talk about. There's going to be games coming out. We're going to be like, in it when it comes to being a gamer, playing games from now until E3 as well. Like from what I'm hearing, it sounds like people are saying, "Well, there's nothing coming out. There's games coming out until E3 to be able."
Yeah, what's coming out? Man.
But what
there's Sea of Thieves.
We knew about that in 2013. What's coming out?
But also State of Decay, and
we knew about that in 2014.
I know, but those 3 games are supposed to come out prior to E3.
That's my question, though. Like they're supposed to come out, all right? And I see where Blue's coming from, right? Like you have 3 games that are supposed to be coming out prior to E3, and we've not heard shit.
Well, we do. We've actually heard a ton about Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Other than Sea of Thieves,
but imagine this: they probably aren't going to pile up one on the other.
True,
right?
true.
I wouldn't expect anything.
You mean to tell me we can't discuss Crackdown, which was supposed to come out last year?
I
would State of Decay, which is coming out supposedly before.
They're probably going to give Sea of Thieves its spotlight, since that's going to be considered their next big game. Like that's where most of their eggs are at.
Well, well, you know what? Here's let me just throw this out there, because we were all originally talking about, hey, let's do a big meetup for PAX East. Okay, it didn't happen this year, maybe next year. But PAX East is coming up, right before Easter. I've been to a ton of them. They're an amazing fan-focused show, right?
PAX East really grown recently.
It's fantastic. I've been there 4 times, and I'm sorry I'm not going this year. Here's my question. Okay, you don't want Microsoft to spend the money, which they're only billionaires, but fine. You don't want them to spend the money on our own show. What if they teamed up with PAX East and took a piece of that gigantic convention center in Boston and had some sort of Xbox event just to get the hype train moving? We know these games are coming out.
Not a bad idea.
I think
the problem is here's the problem, and this is the main problem. Sony didn't need to do 3 conferences this year. They needed just to do all that stuff at E3.
Yes, correct.
If you don't got the shit to talk about, don't try and spread it out or ruin your E3. If you got a big megaton, save that shit for E3. The rest of the stuff, you're good. They do enough shows or whatever to kind of push that stuff. Like the year they did E3, and then they also had a whole totally different show for Gamescom. Perfect. They had enough stuff to show those 2 things. Otherwise, you get what Sony had this year, which was garbage. Their Paris Games Week was garbage. That whatever that Sucker Punch game is should have been a reveal at E3.
Right.
That PSX was garbage, double garbage. Whatever the hell that remake was, Medieval, should have been at E3. Because their E3 was so pathetic. It was like 53 minutes of them watching their clock and people hanging from the ceiling. You know what I mean? It was terrible. So if Microsoft half-assed it the way Sony did, they would get eviscerated.
Oh, no, you're not wrong there. Now, let me get Avers and Moxie, because a lot of us get a little bit, as you can tell, there's so much emotion and passion here. What is it you guys think about this? And there's no wrong answer. It's truly how you feel. Do you guys feel like what Crap's saying, where, kind of lead a little piece on, leave a bread trail crumb until we get to E3? Or do you guys want to hear about this ahead of time so that we don't have to have these gaps of what the hell is going on?
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. People love these types of things. We mentioned the bees, the I Love Bees thing before. The 6 greater than 4, when we all caught that, and everybody was tweeting and talking about that everywhere. We're still seeing people talk about that. It's still getting impressions even today. A lot of people like to bring that up. So people love that type of thing. I think they need a mix of both. They have to have a huge E3, and they have to have these types of things where they let us know things are coming so that we can get hyped. If a month goes by where we don't hear anything, everyone freaks out. You start seeing articles about they're selling off Xbox. We all have all this doom and gloom all the time. So yeah, I think we need a mix of both. What do you think, Moxie?
Yeah, Moxie, what's your take on it?
Well, the thing that comes to mind to me is to remember that, they've kind of been forced into the situation they're in, because Microsoft is in this position where no matter what they do, they're going to get hit by the media. So they used to announce things way in advance, and then they cancel 1 or 2 projects over the span of a long period of time. And they act like they sold off their entire division. So then they stop announcing things. And now the fans, especially the hardcore fans, are constantly wanting to know what is coming. But they've become hesitant to announce because the media will jump all over it if something changes. Personally, what do I think? I think they should keep announcing. I think that the risk is better on the end of just tell us what's going on. If something changes, we'll understand, versus just not telling us anything. So I think they should keep.
Let me back you up there, Moxie. Let me just back you up. We went through the past 4 months of Microsoft has no games, whereas when Scalebound was canceled, it was a week of bad press instead of 4 months. So what I'm saying is let's put.
Oh, that was bad press for a long time.
It was a week.
People still talking about it, man.
It was a week.
People still talk about that.
Nobody opened their window and threw their Xbox out. Everything was fine. The media was there for a week and a half harping on it. Yes, the fans who fell in love with that genre.
It's like the Kinect thing,
no,
right?
just talked about it.
Hey, Mooch, let me ask you this: what was the name of Kind of Funny Games vid yesterday?
Which one? Oh, the one that Kinect is dead and we didn't miss you or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Like people hate Xbox.
Yeah, but that was because it was in Xbox again. Put it in the news when they discontinued the damn Kinect. You should have disconnected the cable too. Like my thing is that like
well, yeah. Here's the problem: you probably had 4 or 5 million people who had a Kinect,
right?
So you can't just go, okay, well, you're not going to have any way whatsoever to hook that shit up.
Okay, well, no, they just did it now.
Realistically, the Kinect always should have just been a USB.
Yes,
connector. You know what I mean? Like since they allow USB cameras anyway, it should have always just been a USB connector. It's like, hey, Alexa is the greatest thing ever now. Right. But remember when Cortana sucked ass and nobody was ever going to use voice commands? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think that at this point in time, and it goes to like the marketing team, it goes to everything here. I don't know. I don't really know who's steering the ship sometimes at Microsoft because, crap, you sit there and you say, I agree with you in the sense that you say, okay, have these Easter eggs, have some fun. I'm not trying to take the fun out of it. All I'm saying is that, like, I'm tired of piecing together what may or may not be. I just want to know. Listen, take it from me. I'm a New York Giants fan. My team went 0-6 before they got a win. You know what we started doing right away? We started looking at the quarterbacks that already announced themselves for the draft next year. We're like, one of those quarterbacks is coming to me. You know what I mean? We want to know what's actually coming down the pipe. Now, if the Giants take the second pick next year in the draft and they pick an offensive lineman, that's like losing a studio, okay? Now all of a sudden I'm back to
sexy. That's not a sexy pick, but it is a good pick.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is we just want to know what's coming down the pipe, and in this case, we have no clue.
I do think that we are going to get a lot of stuff.
I think this E3 is going to be big. Yes, it is going to be big.
Even if we do get some, like now that it's cool and hip to do the CGI trailers, and you can just say everything's in game, and everybody's going to just love it. So I mean, anytime and the Sony fans are going to go, all you guys got was CGI. All we got to say is in game, bitch.
Yeah, well, no, the goalposts are going to move, crap. So this is the year, now that it's been 3 years of Sony showing CGI, this will be the year that they actually have gameplay. So I don't know. I'm just saying, right?
They strung their consumers along for a few years, and now all of a sudden it's
still going to have
them coming
out.
Now
they're going to have a Last of Us actual gameplay. They're probably going to have a Death Stranding gameplay, and now they're going to be like, we had gameplay. You guys had CGI.
How can they be Death Stranding gameplay when they said they didn't even know what the game's going to be?
They're like, crap. That's a mystery wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in an enigma.
It could be an RTS for all the hell we know.
Right. Nobody has any idea what it is. Although you have to play it 5 hours to figure it out. According to Mark
just like, hey, we got like almost 500 people watching and 152 likes. It's the weird things like that.
It's just those weird phenomenons in like crap,
How my video gets taken down for being spam when there's no spam, like, hey. Right. That's the weird things of life, right? Like there's just all these questions and you don't know the answers. It's like,
here's something we know the answer to.
Is that a drone or is it a UFO? Well, of course it's a drone because there's no fucking such thing as UFOs. Get out of here.
Crap, be careful. There's a whole group of people that will start writing to you. Listen, recently, crap, we were talking about this on Xbox Nation. Xbox physical game sales are down this year, but isn't that to be expected now that we're in the digital era? I mean, we have people like you, crap. You're a good example. You're a good example of 3-4 years ago. Yeah. We had a discussion, got very, very heated about physical and digital, and now you're digital.
Dude,
I'm digital. It's
Sony's, like to buy digital on the PlayStation Network. I know me and Snaps, we'll put the credit card in, we'll buy the game, and then we'll take the credit card number straight off that thing.
I just use PayPal to pay for stuff on both because then whatever happens, they just gets reimbursed. But I buy digital, but it was just odd that PlayStation 4 physical were up while Microsoft's were down. But the interesting part to that could also be that a lot of people I remember doing a video about this way earlier in the year about the people that make Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays, and they said that people were holding off on buying Xbox stuff because they were anticipating the One X.
Absolutely,
so,
that holds water.
Yeah, so I mean that could be part of it too. Again, there's also a lot more incentive for Microsoft to do that. They do the Play Anywhere that like 0.0001% of people use. So I mean, there's that. Who knows?
It's profit.
Yeah, I mean they do amazing sales too, like multiple times a year now. Like they do basically on par to what the Steam sale is or whatever. So,
Moxie, what do you say? Because you've been driving that home. What do you mean now? The profitability on what now?
So Microsoft Microsoft has been pushing digital a lot harder than Sony has, but we've been in the digital era, at least from my perspective, for a few years, and Microsoft is pushing that. They're really pushing toward that because you get everybody to do digital. They get the same item, but you don't have to package it and ship it and go through a middleman or a retailer. And that's all costs. That takes away from the profit of the game. So again, it's Microsoft and their focus being on profit, which that's pushing digital is a really good way for profit. So they made the store awesome. It's really secure. There's not like the credit card complaints too often. So that's what they've been working on, is securing it, pushing it, making it easy to find your games, advertising games digitally, because it's part of their profit scheme.
Isn't it interesting, too, that when you look at the digital sales that have been going on between the two companies, that Sony's is dismal. There's nothing there. Theirs is much smaller. It's a smaller selection of games. Microsoft has now had the Black Friday digital sale, I call it the New Year's digital sale, and they extended it out to I believe, yesterday, January 4th or today, January 5th. And it's been, I don't even know, I want to say almost, I think if you include the 360 games, it's probably like 200 games. And it's all the main titles, and they're all, my God, between 30 and 70% off. This is a big deal, and this is what you're saying, Moxie. They know where the money is. They know that they're able to tie in these deals. The other publishers, these other EAs, Activisions, the Bethesdas, they're all very happy to be doing business with Microsoft digitally right now because they're cutting out all those middlemen. They're all making more money. The developer, this money, when you buy a digital game, as cheap as it may seem, more of it's going to the developer than when you go buy a $5 disc.
Because there's no middleman, there's no packaging, there's no, there's no shipping, there's no none of that. Right. So that's why everything's like that. You have some developers like Cliffy B cut out. They won't do physical sales anymore, right? And then they blame PubG for lack of sales on their game. So I mean, you never know. I mean, it's an odd situation. Like I said, shit's crazy. Shit is crazy
odd these days. Well, speaking of crazy, let's talk about this because God of War 4. Some information kind of came out.
No,
today.
It's just called God of War.
Oh, is it God of War?
I know. Hey, look. It's not called 4.
My apologies. Yeah, you're right. It's not.
And the funny thing is, Xbox One apparently is an odd name. But God of War, didn't we already have a God of War like in 2007, I believe? Right.
Yes, we did.
And why isn't anybody like calling this out?
This is kind of like the reboot version where you don't jump. There's no jumping.
Well, they're saying, wait, hold on. There's no jumping.
No jumping.
Wasn't that a key idea behind God of War?
Well, here was my biggest complaint. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Pre-orders are low for this.
Yeah, pre-orders are very low. I understand that.
Almost like Crap Gamer is right when he said Sea of Thieves could outsell it. Interesting shit.
Be careful. You do have the allegiance of the PlayStation folks that will go buy it regardless.
Oh, I'm sure. Hey, look, I'm going to buy it. That doesn't mean that it's going to, even so, that hardcore PlayStation loyalist.
Out of like the 70 million that's out there, the 2 million that will actually pick it up.
2, 3, 4 million. You know what I mean? Like, that's not huge numbers, in my opinion, for 70 plus million.
That goes back to what Moxie was saying on G4G's latest video, and she said tonight. It goes back to saying that there's 70 million consoles out there, but when it comes down to it, when software comes out and you have these hardcore people out there saying, we're 70 million strong, you're not really 70 million strong at all. You're about 8. At max, and that's for the main title of Uncharted, and then it dwindles from there.
Strong for Call of Duty and for Madden and for NBA,
GTA 5. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, again, one of the drums I've been banging all year, and again, I know you guys don't like it, and that's perfectly. I get it. I totally get it. But I absolutely adored Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, here's the thing: everyone says on Sony's camp it's a success. I actually had an argument with a dude, and the guy, it must have been, I'm assuming he was a Sony fan, and I was saying good things about Horizon Zero Dawn, was relentless, because I said it is I'm calling out the PlayStation gamers and calling them frauds, because if there's 70 million that they keep touting that number, right? Every time you go, it's 5 million more, right? It's always a story on something. But only it has yet to break 4 million sales globally. I mean, that is disgusting. And I'm a big proponent of that game. I loved it. I'm playing the DLC now. It's absolutely fantastic. But, is that a failure? If 70 million consoles are available and only less than 4 million buy it, what is wrong?
Here's the thing. I think there's different levels of success, and not all of them have to do with like making money. Horizon Zero Dawn came out at a time when people were really down on the whole lack of single player stuff. Everything's a games as a service. Microsoft is pushing games as a service. So what happened? Microsoft really, really capitalizes or Sony capitalizes on Microsoft miscommunication again, right? They're the white knights always. DRM, play used games. We do that all on PlayStation 4. Oh, we have all the single player shit. We aren't Microsoft, and everybody's like, yay, Sony did it again. They're so for the players, right? So that's basically how that happened. So they get the goodwill and that kind of stuff, right? But then when you look at the awards at the end of the year, everybody forgot about Horizon Zero Dawn because, to be honest, even though you liked it, Boomstick, and I know other people have, it was an average game. And there was no lock on for a game where you're sitting there using a bow and arrow. The voice chat or the voice acting was horrible. It was really repetitive. The side quests were some of the worst side quests I've ever seen. Nobody mentioned how the eyes and the faces look bad.
Yeah,
on that game.
Yeah, they look like LA Noire.
They look just like the ones on Mass Effect. But nobody said anything about it, So it was a success in the way that it did bring people's attention to PlayStation as being this. They do great single player experiences and stuff like that, and it probably broke even or made them a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, that goodwill is worth a lot.
Let me see if you guys agree with me on this one. Run with me on this. If I like to think God of War and Gears of War, right? They're both like the second in the tier of popularity in the respective platforms. If Gears of War ever came out and the coalition said we're going to really change things up, and instead of doing a third-person cover shooter, they switched places. They did what God of War 3 did, right? The wacky camera angles, the jumping. Sometimes it's the over top. Sometimes it's from far away. It's a side-scrolling at time. People would actually be up in arms. The Gears community would be like, we're not buying it. We're boycotting. We're not doing it. But then you have God of War comes out, completely changes the game. Right, and now they're even just changing the third person genre with no jumping and this and that, and they've made it a completely different series. And everyone's like, "Yeah, we'll give it a shot." And it's like, what? Wait, what? Like you would tear Gears of War 5 apart if it changed drastically, but God of War changes and everybody does it. Nobody in the Sony camp is freaking out. Nobody cares. All these people that have God of War tattoos and everything and posters in the room, they got everything. They're just head over heels for this game, and they don't care. They're like, this is great. Change it up. I've never seen how everybody, including the media freaks out about everything that's not this. Even when Crackdown 3, people were complaining it looked cel-shaded. It's a cel-shaded game.
It is cel-shaded.
But then, so here they are keeping Crackdown 3 like its roots. They're keeping it what Crackdown actually is. And they were ridiculed.
Crackdown, the new Crackdown, what they showed, and I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, it looks like garbage" or whatever.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like head and shoulders above Crackdown 2. The color palette looked incredible.
Absolutely.
The detail on the characters was amazing. That's what you're going to see with the cel shading. All right, and I like that kind of living comic book look. So when people are saying that, I'm like, what the hell are you looking at?
People are hating on Crackdown for looking like Crackdown.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like the only problem with Crackdown 3 was that the multiplayer wasn't ready. That's the only problem. Like you couldn't have launched that game without the multiplayer because the single player was realistically just kind of the afterthought. You know, you even had a different studio doing it. So unless you can release that game and the multiplayer works as advertised, which let's hope that it does, then that's a game changer at that point. You know what I mean?
But hold on. Check this out. How can people bash what Crackdown looked like, but then hold Persona 5 to such a high standard?
Ask Digital Foundry. Their top graphical games or whatever was like Gravity Rush 2 and Mech Ex Machina or some shit. Like it was like some really bad, some arcade game. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, I want to say shout out to Tryhard and the Tryhard fan in the chat. Tryhard's a known Sony fan, but he's a fan of the show, and you know what? He likes Xbox. He really does, but he's more Sony. He says here, I don't like the God of War change, but I can't resist unless it really looks bad. And then later on, he says, but I really can't stand that they removed the jump in the game. And but now Tryhard, not to pick on you at all, because I think that's a great point. I'm glad he brings that up. But Tryhard is the person I'm talking about, and he represents a lot of the Sony fan base. You have Sony fans that love God of War, and they're like, you know what? I'm buying it anyway. I don't care. You're changing everything? Change the name. War of God. I don't give a shit. I'm buying it. I'm buying it.
Dude,
But here on this side, the Xbox community is first of all, we have the hate from the outside at all times. And then, God forbid, Gears of War ever changed a little bit, you'd have the Gears community upset. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and it just rattles my mind how it seems like Xbox is always a no-win situation as far as keeping the masses pleased.
Like that Star Trek mission that's a no-win situation. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, it's the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes. I did a good job in that situation, just saying.
Yeah, we're not that dorky, guys. We just actually played that mission. And maybe we are. Who knows?
I was
maybe we are.
Maybe we are. Yeah.
Mr. Mooch, take us out.
Yes, no problem. Off we go. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think on the panel? Avers, what about you? I mean, what's your take when you see the Sony fans kind of they'll go crazy for a game, even if it's changed their beloved stance on the way they used to love it, but God forbid something happens to Xbox, the media and everybody just crashes down on them.
Well, they kind of have to. I mean, they're games wise, this generation, in my opinion, they're on life support on the PlayStation side. So they have to accept whatever changes they're going to make and either pretend that it's great or just not say anything. That's what we see happen when a lot of these games come out. The people that were hyping it up for 4 years just get a little quiet if they didn't like it. But I definitely agree with what Crap is saying about Sea of Thieves potentially outselling God of War. Those sales for the PlayStation games this generation have not been there. They just haven't been what they needed to be. The only way I think God of War is going to outsell Sea of Thieves is if they end up bundling in with their consoles. That's when they get their numbers up. Every time they bundle a game, we hear about it breaking 5 million plus. And if they don't bundle it, we don't hear about that at all.
Now you're saying now, and pardon me for maybe I didn't follow you along there, Avers, are you saying Sea of Thieves being bundled?
No, I'm talking about Sony. They bundle when they bundle everything. That's when they do.
Okay.
Yeah, if they do that with God of War, we're going to hear about it selling, 7-8 million.
Like they do with Uncharted 4, where they're like, it sold this many, and I'm like, well,
gave it away.
They gave it away with all those PS4s. It was the only bundle they had, and it was like $179 or $89 or whatever it was that year. So of course it's going to sell a lot. Like the legitimate sales are something else entirely. But even with that.
Go ahead, Crap.
I was just going to say they get so much praise for their exclusive lineup last year. Yeah. And for me, just an average gamer who's not really into like the Japanese game and stuff, they had a pathetic lineup.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It was quite pathetic. It was like Gran Turismo Sport, NAC 2, some Uncharted DLC, Horizon Zero Dawn, whether you like that or not, that's subjective. But other than that, the first party was dead. It was nothing.
Right. Well, I think
the show was another one.
I think Luis Peralta in the chat, I think you're misunderstanding. It's not to say that, like something like Uncharted 4 didn't sell well, but what happens is once you throw it in the box, it pads the stats. Yes. And, the thing about it, he goes kind of like what you're doing with PubG right now. But PubG sold 1 million copies on Xbox in 48 hours. That was 28 days before they even mentioned they were going to do that.
It was 4 million before they did that.
Yeah, it was 4 million before. So regardless, that doesn't really hold water.
The entirety.
But what I did was I reached out to Craig Duncan, the head of Rare.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, no exclusive Sea of Thieves.
I'm in the market. Here's my thing. I'm in the same thing I said for you guys all know I'm not in for. I don't care for custom consoles, but I said if you're gonna do it and you're actually gonna throw in the software with it and it's a custom console, then it appeases me as a consumer. So I said, Craig, they did such a great job with the controller. Is there a chance? He said right now they're not. He said, but he did say never say never. He said it's not that they can't do it coming down because it's still 3 months away. Doesn't take long to throw a paint job on Crap before they put them into production. And
you'd figure that they'd have something planned.
I agree with you. That's
a little bit. That's a little. I mean, this is.
I thought they would have, Crap, because I mean, listen, if we're gonna start drinking, the remedy that you've been putting on the table here, Crap, and saying
it's gonna be great.
But wouldn't you think if Microsoft was going full out, they'd have a custom console
you would think
for it?
Because look, that custom controller sold out on the Microsoft store.
Right.
Made
that's my point.
Amazon top list.
He said that too. He said because the controller did so well, he goes, I'm never going to say never. That was his answer.
Yeah, like you would be foolish. This is supposed to be like, from all intents and purposes of what I've heard and what other people have heard, this is like they have high hope for this game. You're going to be hearing like when Fable comes back, like when everybody's always like, it's just Gears, Halo, and Forza. and Fable and Sea of Thieves. Like, there's going to be so many more facets to that.
Before you know it, that list is going to be so long.
Yeah, all Microsoft does is keep their fans Gears, Forza, Fable, Sea of
Halo,
Thieves,
Minecraft, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it's going to be all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that what they're doing is it would be a real misstep if they didn't have some kind of custom console out for that.
I agree with you there. You know me, I'm not anti-custom console.
I don't get it, but I think you know what? Knows. I mean, even if it's just a regular,
but I would.
But yeah,
here's my thing. The reason I would, not because you wouldn't even see it where I put it, but the reason I would get it is it would come with the software, and it is something that's collectible, and I like that. Like when I trade in the Gears of War S, the 2 terabyte, you get more money for it on the open market because it's a collectible. So it's ups your value. So it's something, there's a reason for keeping. There's a reason people collect things. You know, you see a lot of people on the internet right now. They're like, look at my collection. Look at my collection.
Can you imagine a big glow-in-the-dark skull right on the top of the X, where they don't have
cool.
events anymore or anything like that, man?
Exactly. And I'm going to use crap. And this is something we've said a number of times. And of all the things that they've listened to the consumer, this is still something they seem to be missing. And I'm not saying they have to do what Sony did and throw a Darth Vader sticker on it. No, but like when you have a major release like Sea of Thieves, your Halo 6, your Gears of War, you have to have these things come out and you have to show that you're putting the TLC into it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I don't know, you guys probably don't watch as much Food Network as I do because I just love cooking and food, man. It's a good time. But I'll tell you, half of the goddamn thing is plating. Okay, they get graded on the plate. Okay, so a lot of times they'll say this food was really good, but you put this whole thing on here and you pick too small of a plate, and they get dinged for that. Same thing here. You got a great game. You're really putting money and advertising into it. Why not put it on the plate? Put it in a console. People will buy it. I don't understand that. That's something I don't seem to understand. And again, goes down to the marketing folks. And this is one of the things we talked about, and a lot of the people on the panel, I think, wanted to get this off their chest. We talked about it on Xbox Nation crap, and I think it was a big hit on Wednesday. Is a lot of people have been writing me since Wednesday telling me how they felt what we said about how there needs to be a little bit more of a shakeup maybe in some of the different cabinet members at Xbox because they're just not seeing it. And here's the thing. Don't take my word for it. I feel like we're on Reading Rainbow. Don't take my word for it, okay? But my point is that Sony's doing it. Sony's got more custom consoles out than Microsoft this generation, and they've all sold out hand over fist. So, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, am I the only one here?
Microsoft doesn't believe in stickers, though, so I'm not sure
how they don't
work.
Yeah, well, Microsoft, when they make exclusive consoles, man, they go all out. Like
they go all out.
Etching and
absolutely. But they've only got one that's memorable. I mean, even the Halo one I thought was, you know what I mean? I didn't think that was great. I'm sorry, Xbox. I apologize.
We're done.
But Xbox, did you genuinely like it?
Oh, dude, I thought
the Halo one.
The one thing
it looked like a 1993 teal Mustang.
Nah, dude, what I liked about it, like you can do your traditional kind of like green with copper and stuff like that, but they didn't do that. They focused on, and I know I'm probably gonna get some hate here, but they focused on the other Spartan in the room with Locke, and they used the silver and the blues and stuff like that. And they really, I thought they made a great looking console. I know.
You're the big fan, Xbot. If you enjoyed that console, then that speaks volumes. I just myself personally,
there was so many little things. Yeah. That's what I love about like Xbox with their limited edition consoles. If you look on the side, you'll see the UNSC sign and stuff like that. There's little things to actually pick up the system and look around it because
absolutely
there's more to be seen there. And that's what I like. That's what a limited edition should be. It should cater to the fan of that game and put in those little Easter eggs all around it, those nice little touches. And that's what Xbox does, man.
No, I do agree. What do you guys, Avers, Moxie, what do you guys think about this as far as the marketing goes on the consoles? Are they dropping the ball by not having a Sea of Thieves one?
Well, I think we have a little bit of a different take on the way the marketing goes. With the special consoles, they kind of reserve those for their billion-dollar franchises. It looks like all four of them have had the special consoles. Other than that, we've seen Call of Duty, but that seems like a partnership type of thing. I think we saw one for, what was it, Titanfall had one? And other than that, none of the others really do that very much. I mean, what's your take on it, Moxie?
Yeah, I always hear that criticism about Microsoft and marketing, and I also don't agree with it. I think that it's kind of an interesting industry where marketing actually really isn't the big thing. That's not the big way to drive profit. And again, always Microsoft drives profit, and marketing is expensive and things like that. You know, they do that with their really big games and they sell those consoles well, but again, consoles aren't where the money comes from. So I think they only market where they see fit. And I don't think necessarily that they need to see a big increase in their marketing. I think their marketing is fine.
My bad, Moxie. But don't you think with everything that's going on and how, you know, Xbox has kind of like turned the ship around and everything like that, don't you think they should put more into marketing? You should see the Xbox One X out there more. You should see more advertisements, limited edition consoles, especially with a game like Sea of Thieves coming out. Doesn't that make sense though?
It does, but there's a difference between seeing special edition consoles and seeing marketing, because I feel like I actually see a ton of marketing for the X, more than what I've seen in the past, and definitely equal to or greater than the amount of marketing that Sony's doing right now. So marketing wise, I think they're on point with what they should be doing. It's a premium product. You're not selling it like McDonald's to where absolutely everyone's going to buy it. So you don't put a ton into marketing, something like that.
I think they should market it. I mean, it is a premium product, but I think they should kind of switch their focus and saying that, you know what, man, it should be out there in more houses, and it should be looked at as such.
Marketing has changed quite a bit in the last 5 years or so, and maybe even going back a little bit further. They're starting to see research. I used to work for a company that would give me some pretty detailed analysis of what some types of marketing will do and how it works for some types of products, and it doesn't work at all for other products. They're starting to see that impressions are the biggest thing that matters, how much people are talking about it, which essentially, when you look at that boils down to word of mouth. That's what they really want. They want people to spread it all through Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever else is out there. And that's where they're seeing a lot of the sales come from their marketing these days. They don't see as much from the 30-second TV commercial as we would think. In the past, that was incredibly effective. Marketing and ads, the way they work today, smaller little ads that are cheaper are actually getting them more returns than those bigger ones.
Well, you guys say that, but I have to throw a little bit of a wrench in the gear here. You know,
I think I was going to do the same thing.
The iPhone is a great example. You know.
Oh no!
Please. That's not the example you want.
Well, no, it's $1,000 phone, and it's on every other commercial. That's not a cheap item.
One thing I can say, guys, one thing I can say about marketing, and I know I've probably beaten this horse to death. But when you go into the stores and you look at the kiosks and stuff like that, if you look at it now, if you look at the stores, at least where I am, they don't even have an Xbox kiosk anymore. They've replaced it with cardboard advertisements and stuff like that. And when you look at, because I have a tendency to step back, you know, I'll look through the games, but I'll look at what, you know, the people in the store are doing. And there are people that are gravitating towards the PS4 kiosk because it's a playable system right there, and they have their hands on and they're playing it.
That's incredibly expensive though, man, to get a 4K screen in there, to get the $500 X, the kiosk itself, they have to pay for that.
Well, we're not talking about a mom and pop shop here either. We're talking about Microsoft, man. And if it's going to do more,
3,000 or was it, how much is it on GameStops? There's 300,000 of those, plus the Best Buys, plus Walmart, plus everything else, Target. That is exponentially more expensive for them to replace all those kiosks than anything else we've talked about as far as marketing goes. I don't see a return on that at all.
Well, you're not gonna create, you know, 50 million more console gamers. That's the thing, is you're marketing something that a good majority of the people who understand what the Xbox One X is, if you give a 30-second commercial about it, they already kind of get it. So you market to, you know, the people who do gaming, and you market to essentially people who either game on PC, they game on PlayStation, or they game on a current Xbox. You're not going to create just a ton more random console gamers by being on mass TV.
You're right
here's
there.
The deal. Oh, my bad, Mooch. Let me just say this one thing, though. I really feel when it comes to this, and the Xbox One X sold well throughout the holidays and stuff like that, but with deciding not to do that, especially, you know, around the holiday time, like you have moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas going to these video game stores and stuff like that, if they saw like people going over, or just even the quality of Xbox One X in a kiosk, and they went over and they asked, hey, well, what is that over there? Well, that's the Xbox One X, this and that or whatever. It's $500. Oh my goodness, that's too expensive. Well, we do have the S, which upscales to 4K, and it's this much cheaper and stuff like that. Like that would create revenue in and of itself. So I would agree to kind of like disagree with you on that. I think there's still a place for the kiosk, and I still think that they need to invest in that as well.
I mean, I agree that
put the kiosk there in the first place. So you mean to tell me that's not going to cost us the same amount of money to replace it?
What happened?
Like, I mean, I'm saying like I think Moxie was saying like it costs too much to put the kiosk in there.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't.
They have to replace the screen and everything. Sorry, go ahead, Moxie.
I don't disagree that would certainly sell Xboxes to those parents buying Christmas presents. The question is, does it sell more Xboxes, more dollars worth of Xboxes than it costs to put them there?
And I understand that, but look at the dollars and cents here for a second, though. Here's my problem. The problem is I'm not seeing it happen in the brick and mortar stores. I'm also not seeing the commercials. I'm not seeing anything. I see that
not as effective for a $500 product as selling French fries at McDonald's or a burger or whatever.
Again, I know you guys aren't fans, but like literally every other commercial for the Apple iPhone shows 50,000 different quick faces, and they're like, "This is what your face can buy. This is what your face can buy. This is what." Like, I need that. I got a face. I can buy things. And like,
but that's exactly it, though. Everybody has a phone. Not nearly as many people have a console or have any interest in a console as a phone, and that's where that money difference
So I'm willing to have one out of 50 of Apple's commercials. I think Microsoft has almost none. And I just they're not updating their. Don't get me wrong, the kiosk thing. I did the quick math real quick. Avers, that number's staggering. You're right. To go in there and change to write that number, if it's frightening,
that's a lot of money.
Okay, even your calculator puts an E at the end. Okay, listen, there's a lot going on right there. So I agree with you, and I don't. And Moxie's right too. Does that actually pay off in dividends and console sales? Probably not.
It does in the long run. Hold on,
Xbox, hear me out though. You don't have to have one, but you don't have to have one in Bumpkin, Ohio. You know. You could put them in the main areas, the big city markets. They don't have them anywhere.
Just as a side note.
Oh, just real quick. When it comes to the kiosk thing, and yeah, I am gonna beat the crap out of this. All right. When it comes to the kiosk thing, let's be honest here. When it comes to Xbox, the main demographic that it caters to is people like my age, right? Minecraft goes younger and stuff like that, but that core is people my age. We have the wallets, we have the debit cards, we have the credit cards. And we look at it. Back in the day, we used to all come together at the arcade or at the corner store, and we used to put our quarters up, on the screen to play a game or whatever. Those kiosks have that type of nostalgia type effect on the people who have the money. All right, and when the people have the money and there's something there that relates them back to their childhood, they are more adept to spend the money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the way of TV, though, I constantly hear people saying they're not doing any TV advertising. You never see them on TV. Keep in mind, they sponsored the entire season of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
they had their name all over it. Here's the thing. Walking Dead has an enormous fan base and the right type of fan base for that. So it's not that they're not on TV. It's that they pick the biggest place that's going to drive them the most revenue, and they put themselves on TV there instead of all over the place when someone's washing the dishes in the kitchen and they're glancing over at the TV.
PlayStation commercials during The Walking Dead too.
Yes, real quick, Mooch. I just want to jump in here because first of all, I want this timestamp because I'm going to agree 1,000% with Xbot right here. We never agree. We're very rarely.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, the big one's coming because listen,
you're this flat. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. We talk about the astounding amount of money that they would actually have to spend. You see, I'm into investing, right? So when you put $1 in, you're hoping that sometime down the line, that dollar is going to turn into maybe $5 and then $10 and then so on and so forth. Their kiosks have been in the poorest shape. We're not just talking about in 2017. We're talking.
You got better displays, man.
We're talking about going back as far as 2015 when they basically threw their hands up and like the generation is lost.
That's very intentional, though.
Yeah, you know what? I agree, intentional or not. You still, regardless whether you make money or you don't on consoles, you still need those consoles in people's homes to buy these games to make the money. Okay, and they have to do a better job. Again, I've only been doing the YouTube thing and the podcasting since June 25th of my first episode on Crossfire. And Mooch, from the day I came on, what have I always said? Their marketing is atrocious.
But here's the thing: you just made the point that I made, because if they're marketing all over TV, sure, maybe they sell some consoles to people who are not gamers or don't really understand a lot about that market. But for Microsoft to put a console in someone's home and actually make money off of it, it needs to be, to some extent, a gamer who purchases that, not just anybody. They kind of break even on a console. So if you get 5 million people to buy a console for Netflix, that doesn't even help them. They need people downloading games and microtransactions in games, and that's where the money comes from. So that makes
and Moxie, I agree with you there. The only thing I would say you drive home on the commercials is, and this goes for the casual. Let's say you're a casual, you have no idea what someone tuned in right now, and they're like, who are these people? What are they talking about? And if what does he do? And what does he do? The key words are the world's most powerful console. If you're casual, you know what that means. If you're hardcore, you know what that means. And the thing about it is that when you're walking by, the world's most powerful console is nowhere to be found in script at Best Buy. It's not even, it's just not around. And I understand that $500 isn't the casual, maybe the casual customer's console, but it can be, or it may be, if it's pushed the right way. And I think that the other thing that you said that I think you're right. I watched The Walking Dead. I'm a big fan. They sponsored that event. I mean, that was a massive amount of money they put out there. But I think they were probably better off putting it on Cartoon Network's Robot Chicken at 4 in the morning, because that's more people that will go out and frivolously spend money than the people that watch Walking Dead, or all the people that go to work with us in offices on Monday, and they don't spend $1.50 on themselves.
Mooch, Cartoon Network right there during the day. You do Minecraft commercials and say on the most powerful console at the end. Then you get the kids, and Mooch, you know this. I know this with having kids and stuff. Once you get the kids mindset into Minecraft on Xbox, it will hound you to death.
Sponsor the Nickelodeon Award. You know what I mean? Like, that's
not as many viewers though. That's not a targeted strike. The Walking Dead deal was a targeted strike, and it was probably very effective.
I bet you it did well. I bet you it did well. I do think it did well. But
keep in mind though, Cartoon Network, you put it on Cartoon Network. So even if you sell every person who watched Cartoon Network today an Xbox One X, are those people that are going to keep supporting the software that actually makes them money with that X?
I don't know that.
Here's the thing. Like, everybody assumes marketing is just what we see on TV nowadays, and it's so not the truth.
It's more than that.
It is. Like, I'm all constantly watching YouTube, and what do I see when I was click on the Daily Fix? Oh, PubG commercial. The only console you can play it on, Xbox One.
Right.
The biggest game in the world right now. The only place you can play it, Xbox One. Right. So even though I've never seen that commercial on TV, I've seen it multiple times on YouTube.
Yes, it's all over YouTube.
I see the Power, whatever, the Kanye West one on YouTube all the time.
Awful commercial.
You know, yeah. I mean, it is. Hey, the most powerful console. That's what it. Yeah. That's what you said it needs to say. So
it'll get you singing the song afterwards, though. It will. It will.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, not me, but sorry, if it's something.
That's more of a big red Solo Cup fan, if you will. Right. But no, I do. I think everyone's made some good points. I don't think anyone's actually wrong. I think it's both sides of the coin. I totally see where everyone's coming from. Sticking with the PubG thing just as a second, and it's kind of a sidebar off of it to change subjects, is Paladins actually recently announced that they're going to be doing a Battlegrounds mode, which is,
I know, wait to that till we get the Halo Battlegrounds mode.
It's going to be, I think, will everyone agree on the panel that 2018 will be the Battle Royale launch of every single IP we're ever seen in our lives.
I hope somebody shoots that cow in the head before all these publishers and devs over milk it. I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, it's already been confirmed that it's coming out for Ghost Recon. I mean, they already said that it's coming out mid 2018, and quite frankly, that's a great game for it because the Bolivia map is tremendously big.
See, and with you guys saying this, man, this is why I keep thinking if Bluehole really wants longevity in this game, they need to lock it down on Xbox for console exclusivity outright.
I'm sure Microsoft is doing and trying everything they can to make that happen, to be honest with you.
Because otherwise, they're just going to get lost in the woods of these bigger developers.
Did Xbox just get really loud and then quiet all of a sudden?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I didn't touch my mic at all, man, by the way.
No, but I guess maybe Xbox might have just answered the question for me. I was going to say, what does Bluehole gain besides that very first initial large check? What do they gain by locking up with Microsoft at this point? But I think maybe Xbox kind of nailed it. If you've got Ghost Recon, you think maybe Call of Duty and Battlefield will follow suit. You see these Paladins, you see everybody's going to be doing it. Battle Royale is going to turn into the new team deathmatch. And that's a problem because you do kind of get lost in the shuffle if you market yourself maybe with one particular console and let them really, put it like I'm going to use Avers. I think you said it. It could become one of their $1 billion franchises. It could be number 5. And that maybe puts you on a pedestal. Okay, it's like winning a gold medal at the Olympics. After you win that gold medal, you can become a fat slob that just starts smoking, and it doesn't matter anymore. You still got the gold medal. So this could really
race a shark in the water.
Exactly. This could actually put PUBG on a pedestal and bronze them for good. So do you guys see PUBG maybe coming around and locking in with Microsoft, or do you see this is going to be on Switch and iPhone next year?
Well, they really don't want the developers behind the game. They really don't want to be exclusive to the Xbox platform. So I don't think they're going to go for it at this point, unless they're offered one of those exorbitant numbers that they offered Notch when they bought Mojang and Minecraft. If they were offered that much, they might end up pulling the trigger on it. But
I don't think it's worth it, though.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think it's worth it. If Call of Duty and Battlefield come out with this mode the next year, I think that's going to be lights out for the console version of PUBG, probably not the PC version.
And I think that's what Microsoft is coming at the table with, like hey, all these other guys are coming with this game mode. Take the money you can get now, or or we're just going to pull out and just take what we have so far, and we'll just move on and let these other third-party developers, do what they do, and we'll partner with them later on down the road.
I've been one of the only proponents of the entire time that PUBG has been a phenomenon. I have said they should not lock that down. Microsoft should not buy PUBG because PUBG is a phenomenon. It's not a game. It's nothing about PUBG mode that's unique, that's selling, that's making money that you would want to lock down. None of that is copyrighted. It's just a way of playing a game. Right. That idea is out there now. And I've said this since the beginning. All it takes is Call of Duty comes along and goes, here's our battle royale. Microsoft would lose $1 billion if they did $1 billion deal. I've never thought they should buy Bluehole.
Moxie, you make a great point.
Very good
what
point.
What I'm saying is for Bluehole. I'm not even saying for Xbox or Microsoft. If Bluehole wants more longevity on the most longevity they can on their game, like I feel like they actually need to stay at home and not go multiplayer.
Here's the thing, though. Minecraft has a lot of competitors. That's not patented either. So there's been multiple competitors that come out. The problem is Minecraft is the original. Minecraft is the name.
Well, they've been the original for years, though, man.
Yeah, but there were other ones that came out pretty much right after that. You had some of the other ones that came out and competed. Even bigger names like Lego did Lego Worlds that was basically Minecraft. So you had a lot of competitors, but Minecraft still always beat them because it's the name. Just because these things are doing a PUBG mode doesn't mean that it's going to be. I mean, every game does team deathmatch, but I'm sure that, we still all have our favorites. If I like Call of Duty team deathmatch, but if, some game that I don't like does team deathmatch, it doesn't mean I'm going to drop Call of Duty for that.
Halo team deathmatch is the best, by the way. Halo, hands down, above all of them.
I see. I kind of think I'm kind of with crap on me. See, team deathmatch for me, it always goes back to Call of Duty. That doesn't mean when we play team deathmatch on Gears, it's fun. It's definitely fun, but it's not the same. So I mean,
you think of it this way: you can play the PUBG mode on Fortnite, and that's free, and that gets some people playing it. but not nearly as many as actually paying to play PUBG.
Right.
Like, I don't have people hitting me up on Xbox Live nonstop going, let's play that Fortnite PUBG mode. No, they're like, hey, crap, you getting on? Let's do some PUBG. Let's get that chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Right.
You know well, the difference with PUBG is it's just that one mode, whereas, you know, like Call of Duty, Ghost Recon, some of the other games we mentioned before, there's other content there as well.
Yeah.
That's what helps those guys. So PUBG has like a bigger...
That helps Crap's point.
I also want to
the name does pull.
Yeah, I also want to point out that I wasn't a big person that was thinking PUBG was going to be this big. 'Cause I played it solo and I'm like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, but at the end of the day, it's not. Then when you play with your friends and you get 10th, 5th, 3rd, you almost get it because you get 2nd. Yeah. You got to do that one more round because you might get that chicken, and it's just like an addiction. And that is where that comes in, and that's like one of the few games. Like, as bad as that game plays sometimes, as bad as that game looks, you just want to keep playing it.
Like, what are you talking about, Crap?
I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never kind of experienced anything like that before, where you just had to keep going back, just one more round. Like, everybody does it, man. You could be at 3 o'clock in the morning. One more round, guys.
My dinner was late today because I started playing PUBG first, and I know when Snaps comes home from work at about 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight, that's the first thing we're going to be like, all right, you guys, you ready to jump in on PUBG? It's something that right now is just taken the Xbox community by storm.
Let me throw a scenario out there. This was an interesting thing. I watched an hour long, and this will all tie into PUBG. And I think it kind of, because what Moxie said makes a lot of sense. If you're sitting there at a corporate table, I actually would have bought into what she said. But then Crap comes in and says, "Can I just make one more pitch to the entire executive table here, and then I'll leave you guys alone?" And that also held water. Shaquille O'Neal actually recently did an hour-long Q&A with somebody about all the things in his life. One of the things that I found very interesting, they asked him to be a sponsor for this big company that was up and coming back. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was the late 80s or whatever, blah, blah, early 90s, when he first was getting into his career and being a big deal and putting his face on merchandise. And he passed on it because he was like, you know what? There's a million other people doing this right now. So I just feel like that right there, there's a million people selling that product. I don't want to endorse that. I'm going to pass. He passed on it. I believe Magic Johnson actually took his place. That company is now known as Starbucks. And Magic Johnson became an investor, and he profited like unbelievably off of Starbucks. And he said, and Shaq said that was the number one thing that he's regretted as the worst business decision of his life. What I want to tie that into is
another worst business decision too. Hulk Hogan got offered the George Foreman grill.
And instead he took the Hulk Hogan shake.
Yeah,
like the shake can. But no, very true, very similar story. So when Moxie makes the point to say that it's a mode, it's not a game, and it's everywhere. You know, coffee's everywhere. Coffee's at every gas station, but Starbucks still charges you $7 for a cup. So what I'm saying to you is that I think PUBG's, and this is a message out to Bluehole. This isn't a message out to our panel or the listeners. Take the money, dumbasses, and run, because I don't know what the hell you think you're doing. Like, once Microsoft cuts the chain loose and you're just everywhere, you're exactly what you want. You're just everywhere.
You're going to drown. You're going to drown.
My whole thing is this. I don't think anyone, again, in this situation is necessarily right or wrong, but I do think while the iron is hot, now's the time for Bluehole to strike a deal with Microsoft and try to get as much as you can. I don't think it'll be $1 billion deal, but I mean, I just meant that it has a chance of being $1 billion franchise if it locks in. Because think about it too. Not only is it the name, right? When somebody says, "Hey, do me a favor, could you hand me a Kleenex?" Very few people say tissue anymore. They say Kleenex. Kleenex is the brand. So people are now saying, "Hey, did you hear Ghost Recon's getting PUBG mode?" PUBG has become the Kleenex, the tissue. So it's the brand they're calling out. The name can grow. They can add more modes. They will add more maps. They'll add more scenarios. The game will continue to evolve. Minecraft has gotten bigger since day one. It will continue to evolve, yet keeping the same essentials that it is. PUBG, I think, still is very lucrative for Microsoft and Bluehole at this point. If that waits 12 months, I think the stock drops big time. So that's my take on that. But
your analogy, Mooch, is perfect. But when somebody else came out with their own version of the Kleenex, and then more people and more people and more people did, they certainly lost a huge amount of the profit because the profit starts spreading over the place.
But
so
Kleenex
now
is
if they
still
do that,
top
the same
three.
thing happens.
But Kleenex is still right. And that's what I'm saying. PUBG could still be a top 3 in that category, which is huge, right? Imagine if PUBG is just the PUBG they are today, but in 5 years, they're actually in the conversation with the Battlefield and the Call of Duties. That's a huge merit. And I think that if they don't do that, they're not going to be in that category. Then they're just going to be like, PUBG, you know, like the old Fortnite. You know, it is what it is. And that's the thing. Ghost Recon is a beautiful game. And I know Predator loves it. I know he loves it. But let me tell you something. Not a lot of people play Ghost Recon. Okay, they just don't. Not the numbers that are PUBG Call of Duty numbers. So the fact that they're going to get a PUBG mode, look at PUBG's $30, $29 right now on Xbox, right? So why am I going to pay $60 or $40 even on sale for Ghost Recon? And it's just a small piece of it. I want the whole enchilada. I'm going PUBG. So I still think the name warrants it. And I think you made a good point. Once Kleenex did have its competition, it wasn't number 1 anymore. But number 3 in the world of Kleenex is still huge bucks compared to like where PUBG could be when they're literally left out in the cold. So I mean, that was my whole thing. I think that if they wait 12 months, it's a little too late. You know, $1 late and a day short. It's over. The ship has sailed. So I think Bluehole should get off their damn keister. Just make a deal right now and get in, because they're making a lot of money on PC and Xbox. And Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. Einhorn is Finkel, Finkel is Einhorn. Okay?
For shits and giggles, I've been playing more PUBG than Ghost Recon. So
exactly. And Pred, you're a huge Ghost Recon fan. You know,
Mooch, I just want to jump in here and say this now. Think about this, and I agree with you. I agree with Avers. I agree with Moxie.
Right. Fantastic. Oh, everyone's made a hell of a point, to be honest.
But I'm gonna take it a step further. The reason why I think for both Microsoft and Bluehole, they should make a deal, and here's why. Because the minute, all right, right now everyone's having fun with PUBG, right? We're all talking about it. We're all tweeting it, chicken dinners, right? We're all excited. We're playing every night, right?
Right.
There are so many PlayStation fans sitting on their couches right now saying, I wish that was me, but I heard it's coming to PlayStation. It's only a matter of time. If they did in fact make a lock-in deal and come out and say, okay, we make some sort of little presentation. I don't care if it's even online. 2 guys shaking hands, Aaron Greenberg with a piece of chicken in his mouth, whatever. I don't care. All of those PlayStation people sitting on their couches will run out, and they may not buy an Xbox One X, but they'll go out and buy that $189 Xbox One S and get this game. And the sales that whatever Microsoft paid to lock this deal in will be made tenfold. You got to understand. You said it. You got to strike when.
And they won't do that. They'll hit up Twitter and social media and talk about what a travesty this is and how it's bad for gaming and all that.
The same guy that's going to go, the same guy that's tweeting about how terrible this is, just went to GameStop and bought a copy of PUBG and an Xbox One S.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that financially, because it's, I mean, come on, we're saying 4 million from 3 weeks ago. I can guarantee you there's 6 million copies of this game sold already, and I'm probably undershooting it.
I would agree.
Right. I mean, that is something to be said, right? I mean, and it's somebody, James, shout out to James in the chat. He says, Mooch, do you think PUBG is just a fad? Well, I mean, like I said, we sat here on this show, on Crap's show, on many other shows, and we're sitting there talking about how great and how wonderful, how the next coming of Christ, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a ton of money go into it. Big bucks. I know they went through the loot crate
great
stuff.
Game.
But listen,
game.
It doesn't matter. It's already dead. Nobody cares. Nobody's
Everybody,
playing
dude.
it. Nobody's playing it.
You saw me and all the people.
Just because you pick up the phone and say, let's go to one particular place, doesn't mean everybody's going there when you leave.
Dude,
listen,
everybody's. The only reason why we're not doing Battlefront 2 a lot more. Actually, I played Battlefront 2 more than I have Call of Duty World War II, excuse me.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm not on that more is because of PUBG. That's the only reason. But Battlefront 2 is absolutely amazing. There's no problems finding matches on there. You find them within a minute. It's quick. There's a lot of people playing.
You gotta play Destiny 2, man.
Destiny 2 sucks. Destiny is dead. The game is dead.
It's funny you say Destiny's dead, and I'll agree with you. But there's more people playing Destiny than Star Wars Battlefront 2. And
there's a toe tag on Destiny 2.
I just call it. I don't. My whole point is that like when someone says is it a fad, you got to look at what games and the money that went into it. And the money that went into Star Wars Battlefront 2 was massive bucks, and no one's really that hyped about it anymore. And like I said, by February it'll be deceased, and that's true. So I mean,
everybody's gonna be playing that game for a long time.
They're gonna play Lawbreakers.
Yeah, exactly. Lawbreakers or Battlefront 2. One of the other. That's a coin flip. No, let's get into this, guys. I mean, this is another uncharted creative director that's left Naughty Dog. I mean, how many people? This isn't a jab at Naughty Dog because it happens to every single company. How many times can you lose a creative director, a main director, an art director, a photographer, an artist, this, that, and then you still put out a quality product?
You know what, dude? This reminds me of probably both my favorite GIF and your favorite GIF, Mooch, where the Malcolm in the Middle people are sinking in and they're just looking around like everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
That's exactly what people do to Naughty Dog. They're like, well, we got Druckmann, but what about all the sexual harassment stuff? We got Druckmann. He's godly Druckmann. We've got this. We've got that. And you're just like, well, haven't you noticed the decline in quality over the last couple games, or the reliance on old hackneyed things that maybe Naughty Dog aren't known for? They're really going and borrow, quote unquote, borrowing a lot of ideas from other games.
Yeah.
They got Druckmann.
You know what I mean?
Genius. Like, he's a genius.
I mean, but isn't that alarming now?
I mean, we need a t-shirt.
In the past 3 years, there's been a ton
what
of
else
people
is alarming? This is the first time I've ever seen Mooch misspell something in his title.
Oh, did I?
Next get consoles at E3. And E3 surprises leak.
Oh, I did. You're right.
No.
I gotta fix that.
Yeah,
hey, thanks for letting everyone know.
Well, I know, dude.
Thank you.
I have to say something. By the time anybody on the
I never do that. You're right.
By the time I know, if I would have forgot later, that's why I just said something.
Well, thanks. Alert the Associated Press.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, hey, but you know, I mean, like, this is a big thing. I can't wait till next week's Xbox Station. Tune in when I completely bomb.
Xbox Station on your channel, dude.
That's right. It will be on my channel. I'll still bomb it. But anyways, no, but I mean, isn't this something I work in a certain office pedigree? You guys all work in office pedigree with people. Like, you lose one person to, this and that, and they take a better job here, or they relocate because of family, and you're like, that's cool. But when you start like losing all these people, you're like, my God, these were all of our like experts. Isn't that a problem?
Yeah, I like that picture that somebody just shared in the Crossfire thing.
That was me. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Jesus, that's hilarious.
You got to take a look at him. You're gonna die laughing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hold on, my iPhone is taking a second.
Oh my God!
You need to get a Windows phone there, bro.
He needs to get an iPhone from this generation. I'm gonna get him one. That's great, actually. That's really, really good.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Does that matter? I mean, you guys, I read that and I just get concerned. I say, kind of what Crap's saying. I see the quality kind of dropping, and that's an issue. Isn't that an issue?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, okay, so someone from Naughty Dog leaves. He or she was, obviously had some had a serious position there. Right. Now you start to look again. Every one of us is going to be buying these PlayStation 4 games because we're gamers. End of story. Yeah, we like Xbox, but we like games, so we're gonna buy that.
Oh yeah, in fact, Mooch just bought some terrible PlayStation 4 game.
I like it. Nier Automata.
Nier Automata.
I like this.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I listen. Some of the things on PlayStation, I will say this much. What we always say, when it gets to the Persona 5s, you lose me. I have no interest in that, or that other thing there, crap that you said that Foundry said was Game of the Year or something like that.
I'm first in line for Spider-Man when it comes out, whether it's
2019.
Yeah, it's going to be 2019. But
not only that, but did you guys see they did a new commercial for this year's games, and they left out Days Gone and Spider-Man from the commercial.
Yeah, that's something I had on here. Is that something that's alarming, or
alarming, or Crap Gamer is right?
Well, here's the thing. I know Crap had did a video about this where they just hired
a video that wasn't taken down, by the way, for those scoring at home.
A creative.
I'm so fired tonight.
Sony just hired a creative director for Spider-Man, and the game has been in development for a very long time. So it just, you know, what happened to the other guy? Did they fire him? Did he leave the project? You know,
you bring in a game director. I mean, that's usually somebody you have pre-production,
right? So
now towards the end,
right? So now we're gonna now this is what I was actually getting to. Okay, first it started out with Spider-Man. There's no release date, right? They have to hire a new creative director. Okay, so then no one says anything to that. Now it's being reported that someone from Naughty Dog left who had a significant position there. There's still no release date for which is probably going to, you know, Last of Us 2 is probably going to be a PS5 launch game. I you know, I know we've all said it, but it looks like that each and every year that passes. When does the media, not us because we're not the media, start to say there might be a problem in Sony? No one is mentioning it. We're mentioning it on this podcast. Never. You'll mention it on you know, BGST. You'll mention it on, you know, Xbox Nation. We'll mention it because we're looking at it, and we're not doing it as rabid fans that just want Microsoft to win. We see that there's an issue. Games. You know, we see there's an issue. Also, you know, let's bring in a little tidbit. We're all talking about God of War. There's no release date, and now there's rumors that it may not come out in 2018 at all.
Yeah.
So so honestly,
a lot of like high level people at Sony.
Yeah. So without, you know, ringing the alarm and you know, and jumping on the Xbox bandwagon, and we're not doing this as a fanboy, we're actually doing it as actual facts. Is there something going on at Sony that's a problem? And I believe there is.
Boom. One thing I can say, you know, it hasn't been too long since I got my PS4, and I was able to go back, and even Crap said this to me when I let him know that I got the PS4. He's like, well, there are titles that came out that now you can jump in and you can play. I'm getting to the point now where I'm looking forward to games that are coming out, and I feel for that like diehard PlayStation base. You know, I know we've had Scalebound was canceled. You know, Sea of Thieves didn't really come out with, you know, exactly when they were going to come out, but you know, people said it was delayed until this year or whatnot. But when it comes down to like Spider-Man and stuff like that, like I thought it was coming out last year with the movie. You know what I'm saying? And that would have made sense. But now I'm sitting here kind of like in limbo. Gang Beast was a game that was supposed to come out first quarter of 2017. And that's why, you know, that's one of the big reasons me and Snaps, we got our PS4s. And it didn't come out until after, well, right before Christmas this year. Like, we are sitting there kind of like with the hook in our mouth when we're just waiting for our games to come out, where it wasn't like that with the Xbox this whole generation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I got to tell you, though, Xbox, I'm actually relieved a bit to find out that Spider-Man didn't come out with the movie, because then they're just rushing it. And we knew that growing up.
It shouldn't come out with the movie anyway, since it has nothing to do with the movie.
Exactly. And that actually makes me feel like the game is going to be better than I thought it was. But myself personally, I'm not a Spider-Man fan. Like, people just run, you know, anything that's a Marvel, it's like, I got to get it. I got to have it. I need to see a little bit more of it. I thought that what they showed was entertaining, but it was QTEs. So for me personally, that wasn't like, and I didn't listen. A lot of people sit here on the Xbox camp. They love Rise. I didn't, and you know, I played it. I played about a third of it, and I was like, okay, Yahtzee.
Yeah, I thought the Rise, like the execution system in Rise, was awesome, and
yeah, but it needed some more diversity to it. Yes, you're right. I thought it wasn't bad, but on the 7,000th guy I killed, I was like, you know, I was like, can we switch it up?
I built it up in my kind of like tree there, and I actually unlocked more to where I was taking out 3 people at once and stuff like that. I don't know.
That was if you level up your character right, you can actually do some pretty cool things. If
it gets crazy, man. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just I don't think I got as far as I should have gotten. And a lot of times that happens when people play games. I can't remember when I was just saying that with I can't remember if it was Evil. No, it wasn't. It was Resident Evil 7. A lot of people wrote me and they said, you know, Mooch, I give the game credit, but I didn't care for it. I only got about halfway through and I stopped. I said, you have to play that game all the way through to really get the whole Resident Evil feel.
That's like going to a horror movie and only watching half the movie. Right. Like, I don't really like it. You at least go to the end and see.
You got to watch the whole thing. So, I mean,
it's only a 6-hour game, Mooch.
It's true. But I mean, after like 2 hours of it, I was so bored. I don't know. For some reason, I don't even have an explanation. And I know I'm probably one of the only people that feels this way, because everyone I podcast with loved that game. And I was just like, I just played more Dead Rising 3 when the games came. When the console came out, I was playing Dead Rising 3. and just hoping and praying. Once Titanfall came out, I was hook, line, and sinker.
Dead Rising 3 was a great game, especially with the co-op. You should ask Moxie what she thought of Rise. She just recently got to play that.
Really?
Moxie, yeah, what did you think?
Yeah. I just recently played it, no exposure to it before that, and I thought it was amazing. But I am also a huge Dead Rising fan. I wouldn't even put them in the same category. I can't even make a comparison there. Yeah. But Rise seriously felt, playing it now, I played it in 2017, it felt like it was built in 2016. It did not feel like it was built when it was built.
Maybe I can go back. I mean, I own it. I'll go back and check it out. I have not. I just, for some reason, and I played it early on. I never really went back to it. And then, like I said, once Titanfall came out, like I was just gone. Titanfall. Go ahead.
It's going to look beautiful on your OLED. It'll look incredible.
You know, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Will.
It did look like an oil like painting. It was gorgeous. I mean, the game is stunning. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the minute I see QTEs for the most part, I sometimes get a little turned off. I don't mind when the QTE is in a game and you're like, it's an action sequence and it happens maybe every third or fourth chapter in a game. That's fine. Like I think Uncharted does QTEs. I know that God of War 3 does it. Like they do it a lot, but for some reason there's a lot of action built in between. So I don't really mind that as much. It felt like Rise was the QTE was the action. And that's what kind of put me to sleep out time. But again, that was because my expectations were through the roof when the consoles came out, you know? So I should probably return to it. It's only about 8 minutes, folks. So I get a DM from Crap telling me that the 2 hours is up. So
PubG's calling my name tonight, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right. No, I hear you. Actually, you don't believe it or not,
I got dishes and then PubG, man.
I think I'm going to start. I'm thinking I'm going to start Witcher 3 over again tonight.
That's what plates, Xbot. Then you don't got to do dishes,
dude. Yeah, I would, but we had this huge snowstorm and we ran out of paper plates right before it, and I was like,
see, when I talk to Crap and you talk to Def Jam Bam, you have to understand you are talking. It's single man time. Single man time is different than married lifetime.
Yeah. There's a reason why I'm no longer married like Crap. I chose happiness, folks.
Thanks for tuning in. Tonight's Objectified with Crap Gamer.
There's no such thing as, I've never met a single happily married couple. Or no, hold on. I said I've never met a single happy married couple, right? They're always just bitter as fuck at each other, right? And I never want to do that again, man.
Oh, Crap.
Never, ever.
Oh, Crap.
Ever.
Oh, Crap. Listen, I just said I was going to play Witcher 3 and Space Cat's like, no, Mooch, PubG!
You can always hop on with me and Graves, man.
This is true. This is true.
Get that chicken dinner. Boom,
yeah, at least that's true. You guys don't do friendly fire as much as other groups that have played.
Yeah, unless you jump in front of me, then.
Dude, I accidentally shot my son in the back of the head with a shotgun today, by the way. Like, he didn't die, but I was like, yo, I hope he didn't realize I just did that.
Keep in mind, he's only talking in gaming, folks. He's only talking in gaming. Let's just end on a simple note real quick. What do you guys think about the PS Plus and the games with gold games? I mean, we've talked about it a few times. Is it both a shit sandwich for everybody, or is
Deus Ex is nice, man? What are you talking about?
Is Deus Ex nice, or is it just a nice name?
It's a great game to have free. I mean, come on, man. Like, if you want a game that's going to give you content and some type of immersion factor, it's in my opinion, it's a lot better than what they're offering on Xbox right now, especially since it's right after Christmas. I was hoping that, you know, Xbox would really kind of, you know, throw down the hammer and give some.
They're too busy. They're too busy putting games on Game Pass.
Game Pass, that's exactly what it is.
And you know who called that when it first started happening?
You did.
Noof Nukem. Actually.
Oh, I thought you did.
Yeah, no, Noof Nukem did. Noof Nukem. He's like, hey guys, have you noticed how when Games Pass came out, they put all the games on there and not on Games with Gold? Noof Nukem. Yeah.
That's great. Well, Avers and Moxie, let me get your opinion on that. That was something that Noof did bring up, but I do want to hear we've agreed with this. Do you guys think that like Games with Gold has completely like really shit the bed since Game Pass? Because now they're saying, listen, we have a great service here. It's $9.99 a month. We're going to give you these great games. We're going to keep throwing newer titles on there. And what we're going to do by doing that is also just kind of retract a little bit of the quality out of Games with Gold. Are you guys feeling that too, or you're not seeing it?
Well, I agree with Xbot. It's Deus Ex is a great game to get for free. Definitely, it's in my backlog. It's one of the ones I'm wanting to get to for sure. The other one, I think, what was Tomb Raider, one of the older ones. I actually really loved that Tomb Raider game. Unfortunately, I'm not able to take advantage of these because, like a lot of us here on the panel, I pretty much own all the games that they're always giving away. But I think it's good for people that are just now getting into owning an Xbox, which a lot of people are.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. I see Xbox is giving away Zombie this month. And I think that's a good giveaway.
I don't have that game on Xbox, actually. So
I don't either.
I don't have either of the Xbox. Here's the thing. I don't have either of those Xbox One games. I have both the 360 ones, but I don't have either of those Xbox One games, while I have both PlayStation 4 games on Xbox. Batman is good, but again, it's a Telltale game.
Right.
You know, and people always hate on those when Microsoft gives them away for free. Now all of a sudden it's the fucking greatest thing ever.
Right.
And the second thing is that Deus Ex game is probably one of the worst games I've played this generation. Horribly repetitive, those stupid hacking missions and stuff like that. Oh, hacked it. It's like ridiculous puzzles, hack puzzles.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. Like, my whole thing is this. I
uninstalled that game. I got that game for free
That's
and then uninstalled it.
By the way,
I didn't play it. But here's my whole thing with the Deus Ex. People that I know that loved it didn't care for it as much as the other ones in the genre.
Dude,
the one for the 360 was much better.
Yeah,
I personally stopped playing, not because I didn't want to play through it and stuff like that, but it started taking up my entire time in gaming. Like, I got it when it first came out, and I'm like, damn, like, because I was still working on Halo 5 at the time and stuff like that. I was like, yo, it's single player. And that's my thing. I am leaning more towards multiplayer stuff because, you know, the crowd's there, the liveness, the action, interaction, stuff like that. And when it comes to the single player games, I'm kind of drifting away from them a little bit more and just kind of keeping them there for, you know.
Well, it depends on what kind of gamer you are. Myself personally, I lean more towards multiplayer as well. That doesn't mean I don't like a single player game. I do, but like I do it in that's why games like, and that's a great topic, not for 8:57 on Friday night, but is that like some of these single player games, I know some people aren't going to want to hear me say this, but can you tone down like the hours? Like, does it have to take
I agree.
45 to 80 hours to beat a game, a single player? Like,
that's why I'm not playing Witcher 3, man. That's why I didn't play it.
So like we were just talking, like I was talking to my wife, we were like, oh, we're going to play through Witcher 3. And I'm like, well, we're about 30% through it. Should we start over? And we're like, well, maybe we should just try and pick up where we left off because we'll never get to the end of that thing. And, you know, my whole thing is that, like, so take like Nier Automata, right? I played about 2 hours of it today, had fun. And then I was like, I got to get back to PubG. I want to socialize with people. I can't just sit there and play that single player game for 15, 20, 35, 55 hours alone and be like, you know, because I mean, I don't know, you also, it depends on what gamer you are. I'm not saying that you're supposed to do what I conform to, but personally, the reason when people say to me, well, Mooch, why is it you actually are an Xbox fan? It is because of the social platform. Microsoft and the Xbox is more multiplayer centric. I think it's more social gaming. I like the controller better. I like their online. I like their features. All of that just seems to work, except for the controller, a little bit more with being more social. And I think that's why the Sony camp, when you see people that are arguing with Xbox people all the time, they're constantly like, well, you don't know what you're talking about because I was playing Persona for this, and I played Nier Automata, and I've been playing Next Machina, and I've been playing. Those are all games where you get yourself some takeout pizza, you buy yourself a small personal bottle of Jack Daniels. It's you're drinking that television set for the next X amount of hours. Where me, myself, personally, I really enjoy the social aspect of gaming, and I think Xbox brings that to the forefront better than its competitor. With that being said, I want to thank everybody tonight. I feel like I was Dennis Miller doing like a last minute rant just before we finish off, but let me go through it because we do have the outros. The outros do take a second or two, as you guys all well know. Let me start in reverse order. I want to thank our special guests, Avers and Moxies from G4G Media. Thank you guys for coming on. And Avers, let me let you start. Thanks for being here. And where can people find you?
Sure, definitely. Thank you for having us again. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Everyone that has shown us support, a lot of everyone on this panel, liking, retweeting, helping us out. That's the only way we're really getting those new views and those new subscribers. So I can't thank you guys enough. You've had our backs, and we don't forget that type of thing. We remember that type of thing. At the very least, you're all going on the G4G Christmas list every year. But in addition to stuff like that, you guys need anything from us, don't hesitate to ask. We'll do anything we can to help you as well.
Awesome, Avers. How about you, Moxie? Where can people find you? And thank you for being on the show again. It is great to have your insight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a really fun show. So our YouTube is G4G Media, and there's dashes between the G's and the 4. And then you can find us both on Twitter with our first name _G4G Media. So at Moxie _G4G Media.
Very cool. Very cool. And I hope
great show. Thanks for having us. And I echo what Avers is saying. I really appreciate the support. We don't seem to be in YouTube search at all, but we've had a ton of people like you guys really supporting us and retweeting and watching, and we really, really appreciate it.
On the plus side, YouTube hasn't taken down any of your videos, so you're good
there. True. Yeah.
That's true. No, you know what it is? You know what's great? When I saw you guys, just a side note, when I saw you guys like start what you're doing, I was like, not many, a million people start a YouTube thing up every day, right? And they're like, oh, Mooch, check this out, Mooch, check that. But when I saw what you guys were doing and the amount of time, the amount of research, the investigating, the way you put it together, it's almost like Moxie has, and I don't know, we're all dying to know what is on the other side of that computer, by the way, Moxie. But like, she just has her notes. Everything is in line. It's in order. I like order. Like Tim Dog, who everybody, he's infamous and famous, right? Well known in the Xbox community. He's like, Mooch, I only know you through YouTube, but I know you are one orderly, neat bastard. I'm like, you bet your ass. So I see you guys doing your show, and it's executed so well that I was like, these guys are on to something. So stick with it, and let me tell you something. We're all going to be here to support you because you're putting out a hell of a product.
They do actually do a really good show. You guys should all check it out. It's
their set. Their set is second to none. I mean,
I like their soundproof stuff that they have in
love
there.
it.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love. I might do my office out like that just so it looks cool.
Oh crap! Loves
we want pictures, crap. We want pictures.
Well, you know what's funny? Well, yeah, like I went into this actually on that video that I did earlier. They got taken down, by the way. If anybody's, which it was so ridiculous, right? It's like a freaking live stream talking about an article where Microsoft was spending money on exclusives, right? And then it got taken down for spam. Right, so it'll likely get put back up or whatever, but it's still ridiculous that it gets taken down to begin with, since I had it sourced and it was named the same thing as the article, basically. So anyway, even in that, like, I went out and I purchased a new HD camera, professional lighting, a backdrop, and I'm starting to do like unboxings and all that kind of stuff. No, nobody wants to see that shit, unless I can get hooked up with Foxy, and then never mind. Anyway, so yeah, basically what happens is I'm gonna start doing that kind of stuff and get everything kind of straightened out. It just kind of makes you a little bit it was just weird that something like that happened, because I haven't had a whole bunch of issues with YouTube, even though a lot of other people have. I haven't really had any kind of issues like this in the past. So, it'll get sorted out. It'll all be good. And then we'll get everything back on track. So,
keep everyone posted, crap. Let people know on Twitter, because I think the more people that know about it, they can know to call BS on it. So I think it'll all work out in your favor in the long run. It's just something that's got to get through the iron first. But very next we have our next special guest that was on with us, Predator. Where can people find you, buddy?
Predator_H2OS on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation 4, on Steam, and also next podcast on Saturday, Shop Podcast on Thursday. Pleasure being here, man. Thanks for having me on again. Always a pleasure to be on with Crap and Boom and your two other special guests, Avers and Moxie. They're a great panel guests that we had today. Thanks, I'm actually surprised, man. We had like a lot of topics and we actually got through a majority of them. I was like thinking there's no fucking way. We did pretty good tonight, man.
Well, you know what it is, and I'm glad you bring that up. But it is sometimes we kind of go a little overboard on the topics, and it's not that you have to hit them all, but it's good to have a plan of attack. But a lot of times these stories kind of all blend into one another. So I think we did a really good job of that, and that's when you have a good panel put together, is when the conversation just flows and it doesn't feel like you have to necessarily pop out of one topic and enter another one. So, but Brett, thanks for reaching out to me today and let me know your availability. It is always great to have you on the show. Me and you agree on 99% of everything. Getting to some of my usual suspects. Senor Boombastic, who's on 15 podcasts and has 16 shows. Boom, you are all over the place, okay, buddy? You're hotter than fucking like Jon Stewart in the 90s. What's going on, buddy? Where can people find you?
Well, first of all, thanks again for the being on the show. I mean, this panel was on fire literally from the minute it started. I mean, even like pregame, we were like on fire, right? All of us.
I know.
It was great. You can find me on Coffee, Casuals, and Consoles on Wednesdays with Mel, Bot, and a few of the other cast of characters. The show is really taking off, so we're getting some. Like I said, I say it every week, but the show's getting bigger and bigger every week. We like everyone coming out to check that out. Please take a look at my channel, Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick. I just dropped my biggest video today. It came in at 27 minutes. It's the biggest work I've ever done, and it was the top 10 for 2017 plus my game of the year. A lot of work. It took me about 4 days to do it. It was the script was tremendous, and it was a lot of heart and soul went into that. And I featured my brother, Neo Mental, as my community spotlight.
Your brother is the sane one, by the way, the Apple fan. God bless him.
Yes, he's a huge Apple fan. He's been trying to convert me for years. He's like Darth Vader. He's trying to get me over to no, I'm not. I just got the Note 8.
I'll talk to your brother. One way or the other, we'll get you converted, buddy. But no, good to have you, Boom, and congratulations on that video. I'm gonna promote the shit out of that too to help you out, bro. That is a hell of a lot of work you put into it. Xbot 448, you got something cooking tomorrow, buddy, and it's always a lot of fun to watch. Where can people find you?
Well, first of all, it was a great show. Great first show of 2018, man. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, we're back at it. So next podcast is on my channel. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. I was working on the gameplay today. I will finish it up tomorrow, so this way, you guys will have something, decent to watch while you're hearing us rant and rave about gaming news and stuff. But it's been an absolute blast, yo. G4G. I gotta say, it's always a pleasure talking games with you guys. And if to make it simple, just follow me on Twitter, guys. It's at Xbot448. You'll know when I go live on the multiple shows I go live on. You'll know when content drops on my channel. And, maybe a couple vaping things here and there on Twitter. But, yeah, I do it all, guys. I do it all.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Great. And certainly not least, my buddy, Crap Gamer. Where can people find you this week, buddy?
Crap Gamer Reviews. That's that. And the video just came out a few minutes ago, so you guys can check that out. Do a lot of content. We got M&C Mornings probably going to be on your channel. Other than that, just make sure whenever you guys watch something, like it, share, and like this video, share it, and all that kind of stuff, because YouTube ain't the best at getting the word out about a lot of people. So yeah, exactly. So
no, appreciate it, Crap. Thanks to the panel again, guys. First show of 2018 went off without a hitch, and we'll do it again next Friday. Again, M&C Mornings 11 a.m. It'll be on my channel, and then next Friday 7 p.m. here, Crossfire. We'll do it again. Thanks, everybody. Good night, and enjoy the weekend.
Later.